Thought plickens. I mean, the plot thickens.
The thought plickens. That's what Shaylee does when she gets more drunk. She's plickening. That might not be funny later, but it's pretty funny. Cool. We're in.
We're in.
Now we have to put our face on and be serious. We have to put our coffee shop mask on.
Oh.
What is? We're just talking about coffee shop masks. Welcome to the Junkyard Love podcast, which I'm spontaneously calling it right now.
Welcome.
Jessica Faul. It's lovely to have you.
I'm going to work on this.
Jessica Faul, it's lovely to have you. I had to re-record that because she punched the mic, and I had to edit it out. So I was telling her that my time is important, and she's already ruining it.
All right, well. I
just turned to like a radio show host. All of a sudden, I'm a dick just roasting you. Yeah, so let's start there though with the coffee shop face. So okay. I was outside. We were just talking, and we're talking about how you can't really turn off if you work in retail, for example, you can't really turn off the retail face anymore. If you live in your hometown or you live around people that you may see while you're working, you have to do the, hey, how are you today? You know, even if you're having a terrible day.
Hey, how's it going?
And so you work, you're a bartender, you've worked at multiple places, like you've worked at coffee shops, like yes. As you've been doing your degree, like, so you know how this is. Like, so can you talk about like the mask that we have to put on and the importance of, let's say, being able to turn it off or recognize that you're wearing the mask?
I think I would just say, like, I constantly feel like wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing, I'm really kind of like, not always me. I have to be very cautious. I have to be very happy. Do you want me to speak on, like, I was in social work, and then I was also a bartender, and so I've met various types of the community. I've also worked in the schools, too, to add on to that. So I've met, like, I've been involved in my community. Yeah, you've, like, been around it. Like, you've had to keep a face up of, like, just in case people see me, I've got to make sure I do this. Right. I've had to role model. It seems like. I think that's kind of what I've anteed up to in my head is be a role model. Make sure that other people can see you being nice and being a good, right. Because that's kind of been ingrained in me too. But
well, do you think? I think it gets thrown into the category of role model, but I think it's something else. It's like because you aren't really able to be yourself at all times. And not saying like, of course, like don't go to a charity event and get hammered. Like I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like when you're not able to feel as if you can ever go outside without a shirt and tie on, or you don't feel that you can, get a little loose and have a drink with your friends on the weekend. Just in case you run into someone that you work with or works at a company that you've dealt with, I think that's a little different than being who you are and being a role model. It seems like it's kind of a little different of a path.
Yeah, I think it's partly like me thinking like I need to be a role model, but I also think it's everyone asking me to be. Right. But I don't, maybe nobody is. Nobody's ever really said like, Jessica, you don't go out into society and you can't be like this. Like no one's ever said that to me.
Dude, it's that thing, like we think that we know what everybody's thinking about us at all times. Like I can't be drunk because I know that if I see Stephanie, like I babysat her kid and she's going to tell Tiffany. And it's like these crazy mazes that we create for our reasonings. But like.
Now that I'm kicking back a little bit further, I'm digging a little deeper. The other thing is like, fuck, I lost my train of thought.
No, you didn't. Where is it? You're kicking back a little bit further. We're talking about society, mass. This is the cool stuff that I can edit out, too. Yeah. So this is like the essence. This is like our training to TED Talk one day, right?
What was I thinking of, though?
Okay, so we were talking about wearing masks is where we started. And we were talking a lot today about childhood. So
disappointment.
What do you mean by disappointment?
I grew up without... My dad was not someone who, like... My dad didn't spank me. Right. I really didn't get in trouble a lot because I was a very mindful child for the most part. But my dad, I knew when he was upset because he would be disappointed. He would never be like angry with
That's
me.
Heavy,
he would
right?
just wouldn't talk. Yeah. And so I think I don't want to disappoint. Yeah. So I don't want to work for someone and help them build up their whole life or be the fun part of their life, whatever. However I help them, I don't want to be a disappointment to them if they ever found out, like, hey, you helped me through my drug addiction, but now I see you out here,
right,
getting drunk, and like you're out of control.
But that's the thing is like because they don't know. I mean that's the thing is like if they walk by you and see that, they're like, oh great, like that person, whatever. But for all they know, like you've had this revelation and you're like you're not an alcoholic or you're not whatever, right. But like you're actually generally enjoying, like you're doing so great. You're having a celebration with your friends. Like they see it as like great.
party.
Yeah, you're partying, but like that's the thing. Like the thing is, I think what I'm pointing at is that we don't fucking know. We never know.
We don't know.
Like we don't ever know what people are really going through. But so because of that, our defense tactic as like societal beings now is we created a mask. Like we created, here's who you need to pretend to be just in case they start thinking some bad things. Like if you don't want them to think that you're actually this or actually know the real things, so let's do this. And we're stuck in that.
Everything in my life is obviously not of beauty and of it's a persona, right?
Yeah.
And I put on this persona that everything in my life is going great and I'm really good at this because that let's lead this one into social media.
Yeah. Wait, pause right there because I didn't hit record on either of the videos. My phone's so those are things I want challenges as an audio engineer. I want challenges like I need to go back through and edit. Like how do I make that sound good?
Yeah.
Because I want like when I create music, like looking at the next 60 years of my life, I literally want to create music like with my mouth and like I want to go out and take a whole day to sample shit in the environment and like edit it. Yeah. So editing sound. Yeah, like being like coming from a DJ background first and going into audio engineering and like producing ish or whatever the fuck it is that I've been doing, like I'm able to do like the sample thing of like taking other sounds from other people and then making them my own.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's something you really have to know too. That's like an ear you have to learn. Mm-hmm. You don't just have it. I mean, sometimes you do. You have a knack for it.
Yeah.
But again, you're like trained to.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think there are some people like just as there's like different species. Like I was saying, there's like just, we're all completely different. Yes, we're humans, but we're different. Right. Like there's some people who do have and maybe are born with like innate talent. Like there's no doubt about it. Like when a motherfucking kid can play piano at 3 years old is crazy. Like,
yeah.
But it's also our ability to learn at different ages is very different, and our ability to like accept new knowledge in order to learn at different ages is very different. So I think talent, yes, there are many people who are born with talent, but I'm kind of discovering that anybody can learn anything. The length of the time that it takes you to learn it is just based off of where you are at in life.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of people don't get the opportunity to always grow and adapt because they're living in an environment that's not. Yeah,
exactly. Like your environment is pretty much fucking everything. Like our environments are like, we want to be like, oh, I was born like this. And like, dude, even like weight and stuff, like are literally people pick up their mom's eating habits.
Yeah.
Like this is
and
literally
they've
like.
never been outside of that. They've never stepped outside or looked outside.
Yeah.
And no one's ever told them, maybe you should do something different.
Yeah, I know. And we don't want to say that we're wrong either. And so we grow up and we live our whole lives. And that's what we do now. That's who we are. And we solidify it by saying, my mom did this, so I got to do it too. Because genetics.
Right.
Like as if we have like a great understanding of how genetics work, any of us.
Yeah.
Like,
I have this theory that like our memories and the way that we were raised, like you and I were raised in homes that were a little bit different than the typical,
yeah.
One parent,
like you were raised in a circus with clowns
most of the time.
Yeah,
monkeys. I would say monkeys.
Yeah,
a little dirtier than clowns. I don't know actually. Anyway, I have this theory that like we learned to look outside because we had to at a younger age. Yeah. We went through some like. You could call it trauma, but I wouldn't identify with my childhood as a traumatic. But there were events that caused me to have to learn differently or quicker or about a situation or some kind, you know what I mean? Like a little too intelligent for my age. And I learned it.
Things that we shouldn't have seen.
Right.
Technically.
Yeah. And then I think when it comes to adulthood, now I'm thinking those kids or those people who were raised in, these really crazy environments for a child, for, this normal, whatever it is, we're now able to like look outside and be really way more aware because our whole life had to be more aware.
Mm-hmm. We can take a childhood perspective and inspect it from an adult intelligence.
Yeah. Like we understood it at a young age that somehow.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is we make up our own meanings, and it's not like we're born knowing what the fuck that means. Yeah. Right. Like we're born with, like, if we didn't have language, like we wouldn't know anything. We would be stupid monkeys. Like we have language as our baseline, and then from there we learn like how it is to be. And
yeah, we've adapted just different, I suppose.
Yeah,
because there is the really unfortunately naive group of our age people who,
Yeah.
who are naive, or who they have followed through on this normal path, or whatever it may be.
They've done what they're supposed to be doing, they thought.
Right, yeah. And they were led by two parents who did the same thing, who fell into the same, I don't know. I don't know.
So I think it's kind of a stretch, but I've actually been thinking about this. I think we want blame so much, or we want, or we're thinking that the other person is going to blame us, or what they really mean is that we're bad parents. Mm-hmm. I think what we're actually discovering, like with like all this information that our age, you and I are able to intake now, like we are able to very intelligently discover that, like that the things that happened when we were younger did actually kind of, just because the word's been taken from us, but traumatize us.
Right.
Like we, like you could be deathly afraid of snakes, not because you were bitten by a snake when you were 2, but when you were 3.5, there was a guy who kind of like looked at you weird and you were in a bad mood and he was wearing a snake shirt. Like that's how delicate our brains really are.
Yeah.
And like, that isn't something that needs blame on like our parents didn't know how to raise us. Like what the fuck? They were just experiencing like the greatest time of their life, because they're like introducing TV and they're introducing sugar and whatever. Like they were just living the dream, man. We had a religion based still kind of like system of values. So our parents, even if they weren't religious, they kind of said like, okay, here's how we're going to teach them wrong and right, whatever.
Right, yeah.
But like we're discovering now, because we're so intelligent now, our age people, that sounds cocky, but like we know a lot.
Yeah. So
we now know that all these things that make up who we think we are, who others think we are we've fucked that up a little bit. Like,
yeah.
Like we've kind of like fucked each other up. Like parents accidentally kind of fucked us up
without really knowing.
Yeah. Like kids that are our age, like there's people that are our age that are accidentally maybe fucking their kids up now. Yeah. And that's just the way that I talk, saying fucked up. That sounds terrible, but they're just like, I'm just saying we don't know. And I think that what I'm saying is the things that I've been learning lately and things that you've been learning lately, it seems that like we can be like reprogrammed. Like it doesn't have to be anybody's fault, but we can be like,
your brain is malleable.
Yeah.
Your entire life you can be changing as long as you keep it active and are making, creating those, like we talked about earlier, creating the connections and the synapses in your brain are telling you like, okay, this is okay to learn. And it's okay to like forget this because this seems to work better. Don't you think like learning things, they're hard, but like there's a reason that your body keeps trying or your brain keeps trying. You don't keep, if you choose, I guess, maybe that's it. It's the choice you make. Yeah.
Learning seems to be like when you stop learning, I feel like nobody ever wants to admit that they have stopped learning though. I mean, there was a long time where like I would tell you that I've been learning this and I've been learning that. And I really wasn't learning much. I was just kind of wasting my time on social media or kind of just like filling in the blanks with like too much other people's stories and calling that learning. Other people's opinions and calling that learning. Now that I'm learning things firsthand and like really diving in, like watching lectures and shit like that, like I actually feel fulfilled and as if I'm growing and I'm making new neurological connections. Like I'm actually understanding things that are happening. So do you think like not being willing to change must have some adverse effects then? So like, I think what we're maybe, for lack of a less, do you think maybe we're waking up to the fact that like,
I think I want to call this for you.
I know, because I keep
opening your third eye, kind of.
Yeah.
So Lacey keeps using that term for me, and it's every time I have these like revelations where I'm like, you almost blew your own mind just now. The conversation you just had.
No, I know, and that's what I'm talking about. The essence of that is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That your brain continues to be able to grow and learn more all the time. Yeah. And but because you've fired that in your brain, you've chosen that because your whole life has been a series of that's going to be hard or that was hard, but I got through it.
Mm-hmm. All the times there's got to be a finite number of times that you think your fucking world is crumbling down and this is it. Yeah. And you wake up the next day and you're like, God, well, fuck, I guess I got another one. I did okay. Day, yeah. Like, I thought that I did bad, but I'm literally still here. Like, there's got to be a finite number of times that can happen before you're finally like, okay, fuck. I think that maybe that little voice that is telling me to like just stay above water, I should listen to that.
Yeah.
And
I'll follow it.
When a boat comes along, like I should put my fucking hand on the side of it and check it out and like
investigate.
Yeah. Like I think that's like a lot of people who, you know, are speakers, and a lot of people who like are able to integrate like the thoughts like this. A lot of times they haven't gone through traumatic experiences, like because they've been hit a lot, I guess. And they realize that like, oh, we're not made of glass. We're not,
right.
We can be hit. And like where I got hit, I can actually like say like, what is that about? Not like, ow, don't look at that ever. I can say, what is that?
No,
and I can fix it. And then I could look at other people and say, hey, I had that same fucking thing. The same thing that same thing fucking hit me. Like, look at, try this. And then they can go, oh shit. And then they can teach their kids. And we're like, I think that's literally how knowledge and growth as humanity is supposed to work. But
you just took that from like that was a really cool how I read that.
I'm sorry to hijack it. I didn't even mean to. I'm sorry.
No. I'm glad that you said that, because you literally brought it from like, you could have, we just had the conversation of how when you learn as a child, it's because your parents are repeating what they learned. Mm-hmm. So then you spoke about, oh, this happened to me. And I'm going to say, hey, I learned how to take care of this because I saw this once when you're trying to help somebody else who got hit in the side with a meteor, you know,
right.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah. It's a hand meteor.
Yeah. But you went optimist on that, where you said like, we can use these. Well, I know, but you know, we can use these same things that we're sitting here saying, like, this is the challenge. This is why we are the way we are. There was a solution there by having optimism and saying like, yeah, not only so we can repeat these things, but we can repeat these things positively,
right,
to encourage change versus to encourage nothing at all, you know?
Yeah. So that's funny. So I think what you just did for me is you pointed out the way that I found a way out of a hole, I guess. Like literally, like, so you pointed out that I actually pointed out that I blueprinted the way out.
Well, you blueprinted.
I blueprinted.
You blueprinted, excuse me, the way that you could start to the way that you chose to end. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm still just taking this. I'm sorry. The same thing we were talking about, like people who have been through, like through childhoods who have like maybe like a little more rough, or it's not like your typical, like we didn't really have that much crazy stuff go on. Like that's our way of lost it. No. Okay. Never mind.
Okay.
I could have found it. So so by working out life pro tip, instead of saying I lost it out loud, like don't ever say that and just sit with it and sit in silence. So I've been watching a lot of monks and stuff.
Search for it.
Dude, I'm not kidding. Like I've been watching a lot of monks and like meditation guidance and stuff. And there's times where old me would have been so impatient, but now I'm able to sit through and like they're explaining something and they stop for like 15 seconds. And like, instead of saying out loud, nope, I lost it. I think we literally accept that we have lost it.
Yeah.
We focus more. There's only one spot for this thing. Third eye. There's only one spot for this thing. And if we put, I lost it in that spot, then this definitely goes away.
Yeah.
So when you say I lost it out loud.
Also, I think that once you replace the train of thought to your subconscious, unconscious, I want to say unconscious, but your subconscious.
Unconscious, subconscious.
Feelings of
the ego.
They're judging me.
Yeah.
Oh God, if I don't make this like awkward, ooh, I usually go, ooh, when I can't think of a word. And that outward is like, of course I lost the thought. You just completely changed your train of thought to maybe finding this other, like what you were speaking about, to this topic of like, don't judge me because I can't think of what I'm saying because I'm not perfect. Yeah.
So the second that we think that we don't know who we are, and we think that the second that we allow our thoughts to convince us, we know the other person's thoughts.
Yes.
We lose our own thoughts. So we give away our own thoughts just by letting them go.
Yeah. Well, it's part of like what we learned. We learned like if you make a mistake, you must immediately correct it. There is no sitting on your mistakes and figuring them out. It's immediately you need to be correcting this because that's how you reprimand it. A kid touches the stove and you say like, no. So there's fear immediately because you just got yelled at and it seemed angry, and now you're conveying these angry emotions.
Right.
And so now I need to make sure that I change that mistake. That's instinctual, but it's also like we grew up with those like fix that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Rather than like,
We grew up like with them constantly acting on their instincts.
right.
Not.
And because I said so.
Yeah. So that's something that, but my sister says a lot, because I said so. And so I've been trying in my search. So in my search to understand like my own mind, I realized that a lot of people are like this, but me especially, I have to have my end goal. I have to know my why, or the order of things that I do in the middle gets really fucking messy and unorganized.
Yeah.
And stressful. So like if I don't know why I'm doing things. So if someone tells me, I wasn't a difficult kid growing up, but I've always been different. I didn't understand things because when someone says, because I said so, I say, that means nothing. That makes no sense. So how can I possibly follow that or do exactly what you want me to do? Because you said so. Like, who are you? Who gave you? Like, what do you?
Yeah.
What? Like, so I have to know the why.
I think it was a respect thing for a really long time because again, in religion, most religions and just most of society, you respect your elders, and that's a cultural thing by decades. I'm sure hundreds of decades. It's you have to have that respect, and I think that our parents especially grew up respecting their parents who really respected their parents. A lot of that age group is that way. And so I think that we were thinking less now. If you go into a school and an example would be me as a sub saying to the kids, because I said so. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And they're in a world now where they can say, well, who are you to say so?
Right. So
it's no longer about respecting your elders.
The ground of that, like the ground of communicating what needs to be communicated to our younger people is now shaky.
Right.
Because that's taken from us. Like the trust. So an old person can't, like in a small community, let's say 150 people, if an elderly person comes up to you and you're 5 years old and he says, hey, like there's a storm coming. We need to go inside. This is the most important thing in your life right now. Tell your parent, tell your sister, tell your mom to go inside. There's this storm. You say, okay, of course, you're an older person. You tell me what to do.
Yeah.
But now anybody is allowed to do anything. And like we have a weird, like communism is not the word at all, but we have this weird new thing with the internet that anybody has a voice.
Yeah.
We're all pretend leaders, and
it's our westernized culture
that
has adapted to.
It's turned on itself.
It has
on
a
accident.
little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous. Everyone's a leader, and there's always been that don't be a leader, or don't be a leader. Don't be a follower.
And I was like, yeah, don't be a leader. Fuck that.
Nobody, don't fucking do it. How many times in this, like growing up, can you remember seeing a sign that said, don't be a follower, be a leader, or lead, or whatever? So they're ingrained.
But what if followers heard that and they think that they're leaders?
Right.
That's the thing.
Downfall of society.
Yeah. People, you're not leaders. And this is my last podcast because I don't think that I'm really a leader. I'm just trying to wear a mask and follow my intuition. But here we go.
This is it.
I actually wrote something. This might be terrible, but let me. Oh, it's pulled up already.
The thought plickens. The plot thickens.
The thought plickens. That's what Shaylee does when she gets more drunk. She's plickening. That might not be funny later, but it's pretty funny. So this is an excerpt from just like my stockpile of writing, like I don't know, articles or something, but it's not the full thing. It's just like an add-on to things of this same essence about talking about like society and ego and stuff. The ability to see things outside of ourselves is where all of our understanding and what it means to be human lives. The overexpression of the ego in our culture is crumbling many of the pillars that most Americans still cling to. The internet has hijacked the human brain and been used as an accidental weapon. Causes targeted at information-based avatar sides of our actual selves have gripped us, and tribalistic communities have found ways through the connections of the internet to reach out into the real world. A man with a microphone can create arms and wings of evil to fulfill his plan. A man with a story can reach the weak-hearted, the broken, the unknowingly broken, the easily misguided, the children, the adults, the senators, the good people, the bad. A man with something to say can change the course of history. What a power to withhold. No one man should have all that power, a great storyteller once said. It is the second commandment of being human, knowing your duties to be truthful. Knowing your power to take the first linguistic commandment of what we have all decided together means everything, and use it wisely, to not lie. to not stand on any rock and declare it is more yours than it is everyone else's. We are of this earth. We share this earth. This thing here is equally ours. We are fools to not attempt a coinciding way of life together that benefits the ground that pushed back up at us. The leader and the follower are a yin and a yang of our society. The ability to have an instant megaphone has begun to dissolve both the heart of the man on stage or a tall rock and its yang, the audience, the pride below. The ability to reach through, the ability though to other pieces of the world is a godly power. The ability to reach through to other pieces of the world is a godly power. To connect the world is perhaps one of the most beautiful things that I could dream of being a part of in my generation. The skyrocket of information and knowledge that can now be instantly shared is not merely extra sun and extra watering to a plant, but suddenly the ability for a plant to suddenly transport itself across the entire world physically, while deep in its original roots. With each noble connection, a small or large seed of beauty is planted or sprouted. With each reincarnation of Uncle Scar that stands upon Pride Rock, also the yang of beauty's yin seed is planted. How dare you claim to be Mufasa when you are merely a plant? A great storyteller knows growth and observation. A great storyteller practices in private what he preaches in megaphones or open air. The ability to have any following makes you a storyteller. The great awakening of the internet culture is a step back to realize we have accidentally created an ego avatar world of weeds and dishonest stories to water and strengthen our untrue truths. And I have one more paragraph. Through stories around campfires and men standing on tall rocks, we created a follow. A leader commands any follower who doesn't feel they have the strength to go of it alone, to fight back and find a way to live in some form of best way. A leader's role, whether the following be to one single little brother or to millions of people, the language and agreement we have agreed upon is that a leader does not take his role lightly. A man who stands on a rock, a man who leans in to express this story around a campfire and be so truthful you can feel the emotion being given. A great storyteller is a leader. A great man who stands on a tall rock before anyone who may follow has a job. You with a voice of any amount of takeover following, you with a voice of any amount of takeover following have a duty and a role and absolute destiny to stand on that rock in truth. How dare you take the lives of these people in bait? How dare any of us interject what we know more than them into the spots where intuition is now caged in them? The role of any leader or any person taking any other's amount of time seems very apparent. But you as a leader upon this rock still stand nobly. You are the symbols of our world. From our prospectively high up rocks, I'd nod to you and quickly get back to sorting myself out. The butterfly must let go of the caterpillar to be a butterfly. You need to learn your cocoon, not your butterfly.
Yes, it makes sense. I understand the fragmenting because to write, so I do that too. Like there's tangents that you just have to kind of like.
Dude, yeah, but for me lately, it's been great trusting it because I've been able to like, this actually goes with this chapter I wrote 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like this, I've been writing accidentally about this, how to be a great storyteller. Like somehow this is like some sort of in-depth chapter or maybe eventual book that I'm writing. It's weird.
That's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, so everybody having a platform is dangerous, right?
Yeah. Yes. Also, you led into a little bit of the conversation that I think we should segue into a little bit.
Good call.
Is the
Not even touch the mouth part. They touched the mouth part. And I'm bummed. Like normally I'd be thinking about it, but it's okay.
Normally I'd be bummed. It makes me not feel so germy anymore.
Around me?
Things. Yeah.
See, it's like I don't even try to do that. It's literally just in my head.
But now it's gone. Well, actually, it's still prominent, but you don't act on it the way that you used to.
Mm-hmm. I can see it and be like, oh, that's not actually me, or that's not who I want to be.
You're changing the reactivity.
Yeah, you can choose who you want to be. What we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is we just cheered our beers here. Deschutes Fresh Squeeze IPA. It's one of my favorites.
Fresh Squeeze.
And we cheers in my mouth part, touched her mouth part. And usually I'm not really, I don't like when... It
sounded like you said mouth fart. So
my mouth fart touched her mouth fart. Her mouth fart, F-A-R-T, touched my mouth, F-A-R-T.
Fart.
No, but we
that was not where I was transitioning to at all.
normally I don't like to touch people or drink off people, and so that's what we were just talking about.
So
but anyway, so what we were thinking we would segue into
is the difference between we've had this. Jake and I have really sat down and had this conversation multiple times before. You and I. I don't know, who do I address that to?
Jake and I. Yeah,
right.
I mean, people are going to know. Or wait, what are you asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, you can say Jake and I. Yeah. I mean, it seems like I've been going by Jacob more now, but that just seems like a weird Star Wars thing I made up in my head.
Well, I would say, can I say? I mean, I can't say Jacob. I mean, I can.
Oh yeah. Actually, no. It's your world. Bring your world into mine.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, call me Jacob.
So anyway, Jacob and I were discussing earlier and quite a bit lately, actually, the difference between our generation. Here we are. Oh my God, I'm revealing my age. 27. Both of us 27. And we're kind of discussing a little bit about when we were young, or when we grew up without technology. And then as we've gotten older, we've been able to learn it and use it and utilize it without being really frustrated by it. So then there's our parents' age. They're a little bit older. They have only seen the world from relatively most of their life was lived without technology. Mm-hmm. And then they had to kind of grow into it, and they're still kind of learning. Then you take the youth who have, anybody under the age of, like, honestly, 20, even a little bit older, maybe 23 and 20s.
Yeah.
Really, it wasn't much longer. I think I started maybe like third grade learning how to use a computer, and that still seemed pretty like,
yeah.
We just did typing.
But it was only fun for us, though, right? Like, it was
right.
crazy. Like, it was never, like, I don't even remember typing. Like, of course, it was a class, and you have your basic, like, oh, it's school, man. Like, I don't like typing. But, like, there was still, like, this is amazing that we're, like, learning how to use this thing, though.
Yeah, learning to use a computer was our class.
Yeah, well, but our whole generation only had positive sides because we just got introduced new shit.
Yeah.
Like, every fucking month, there's just new stuff, and we just got to enjoy the new stuff and then drop it and pick up new stuff and drop it.
We were literally the guinea pigs.
Yeah, and so I feel like we rode the technology, like, let's say,
we grew
like
with
even before, yeah. So once the Mac came out, once the Apple Mac computer came out, like, we just got to ride the dopeness of it.
Yeah,
like,
we got to experience growing and more and doing more. Like, we learned at the same. I mean, not the same rate, but we did as technology. Technology was growing like crazy, and we got to grow in it.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing with technology and the internet. They created their own pathway through society instead of like, hey, I have this thing that I want to present to the world.
Yeah.
And normally you go to, this is a dumb sentence, but you go to the president of the United States and say, hey, can you give this out to everybody in the United States? And he would say, yep. And then he gives it out to everybody in the United States. Like, that's how we think the U.S. works.
Yeah.
Like, we literally do. Like the president says, okay, well, yep, let's put that in the science books. This is true. We discovered this, so we're going to make sure the people know this, like, and just distribute it. But the internet cuts through that shit. And now we get to learn it, like, directly, like, on our own.
So we learned a vastly different way than most every other generation. We learned how to go to the doctor's office and sit quietly at the doctor's office without watching an iPad. But we also learned, like, now when we want to know something or we want to learn something, we go immediately to our phones because they're going to or what, whatever means we have the ability to know both. So we can sit in silence with ourselves. And we can hang out with ourselves, and we can respect others, and we can do all these things. Uh-huh. However, we are also wildly intelligent in the way that we have been able to grow and, like, I don't know. I guess I'm going to say this 100 times that we've literally grown with technology. So we have, as we humans grew, technology kind of like intertwined with us.
No, I mean, it really is. Like, dude, I heard Duncan Trussell talk about this one time. He said this. He was like, think about technology. It started with, like, it was this building. Like, we would build, like, one computer would be a fucking building, you know? Like, and then it was like, okay, and then we make it a shed.
Yeah.
And then it gets smaller. It's this being that now created itself through our thoughts. This is crazy. This is not even what we're talking about, but
keep going.
I'm sorry. It created this being through our like it's like, oh, we could add this with this. We can make we can make fire electricity. Like humans over time, like, kind of. I mean, it's not recently, just in the history of being humans versus billions of years of the Earth's been alive. But, like, we created this thing, size of a building, and then it got smaller because we got better, we got smarter, and then it was the size of a shed, and then it got to the point where it was on our desk. Yeah. Like, or no, it was even on the ground, like on a modem, and then it's like, this is small enough.
Have one.
Yeah, and then It's fucking a cell phone. It's a laptop. It's a cell phone. This being has made itself smaller and smaller through our thoughts, through our creations, through science, whatever. And then now it's like it's on our wrist. It's in our ears.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's what, like, so what you're saying is like it's intertwined with us. Like, you'd be a fool to not see this as evolution. This is like not the, okay, granted that word, I'm not hijacking that word. Yeah. I'm aware of what the word evolution means. I want to be clear on that, actually, just because I think that people throw whatever their meanings on words and say it's absolute. So like, I'm not talking about actually the word evolution. Like, we can,
I think it's evolved.
It's a new kind of evolution.
The process of evolving is what you're discussing. Without the connotation that evolution has.
So what I think that, so rounding back to what you're saying, I think that we are able, like, the reason why, like, you know, who are we? Like, we're just, you know, two 27-year-olds who like have this like introspective thought. Like, I really think that the gift that we have for the world is our afterthought of like, hey, we've lived both these lives. Like, it's not like we're not jaded and biased off of like, we've had cell phones in our hands since we were 2 years old.
Right.
We've had both. And now that, like, me personally anyway, like, I was like so sucked into the social media thing. Like, I would spend 16 hours a day on, like, I would literally always be on it.
Yeah.
So addicted to it. And like, now that I'm able to remember, like, oh, it wasn't always like this. Like, and now I'm rediscovering like things that I knew as a kid, or like just how to observe my surroundings and be present in the moment. Like, I found presence again. And the scary thing is I was so sucked into the social media that I didn't realize that presence was taken from me.
Yeah.
I thought that every second that I was on my phone was literally improving my life.
Yes.
And maybe even if I thought that to be true, and even if it was technically weirdly true, just it was actually just information. And what you really need to be doing is enjoying your life.
Right.
And so
doing the things you're looking at.
Yeah,
that
our
you're saying
age
are so cool in your brain.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, is like, these kids are experiencing like firsthand, but they're not taking a step back. Like, what did I like about that? Like, maybe I liked the color purple in that movie. Like, maybe I like the color purple more. Maybe I should paint with the color purple. Like, they're not following these, like, what did I think about that? They're just taking in information. They're just storage.
Maybe. Or what if it's, I mean, passive. You're passive with these things. I go from one thought to the next. And by the time that I'm on, you know, I'm done off social media, I'm not lingering on the thought I was lingering on before I got there. I'm taking all this information in, and I'm not learning.
So are you saying it's wasting your time, or what?
It's a distraction for time.
Don't you think it also has very, very real potential to change your mood instantly, though?
Absolutely.
Like, yes. So you're saying you walked away. You say you wasted 5 minutes on social media because you're waiting for an elevator, and you felt awkward because there's people around you, and you don't want to talk to people because that's your personality. And so you pull out your phone, you waste 5 minutes, and you're like, it's fine. I'll just waste 5 minutes. What else am I going to do? Stand there on the elevator? But like, before you know it, you're 90 years old, and all these 5 minutes 13 times a day added up, and you're like, oh shit, I lived my life trying to avoid looking the fuck around. Right. Also, that sound is birds in the chimney, or bats. Fun. They may coincide. I'm not sure. It's a little freaky in there.
It sounds like the mating house.
Bro, like, sometimes I'll have like some like revolutionary thought, I think, you know,
they'll
go off, and I'm like, what? How? Like, and I insert it in my thought as like, that's a sign, bro. That's a great thought. Write that down. And it's probably about like pigeons or something, really, and they're just pissed. But
fuck it, they can do whatever. Hey, whatever's on their mind. Okay, so reeling it back in, we're really distracted.
I don't think so. I think So I've been exploring this. Like, this is the conversation that if there was a third person who was just sitting here, like, who didn't know us very well, they'd probably be like, what do you guys talk? Like, you're so weird. Yeah. But like, once you get to know us, like, these are the in-depth the conversations that we have.
The conversations that we have. Yeah.
And this is a dorky ass sentence, but this is literally a real conversation. In the other conversations that the social media age, the internet age led us to, honestly, this shit never happens anymore. Like, we're mesmerized by this real conversation. Like, hey, let's take these thoughts and just follow them because it's our right to. Like, we're mesmerized by it, like, as listeners, because we haven't experienced it for years.
Oh, it's so wild. And you know what's crazy is how many times do you say, I hate the small talk? That's something that that's exactly how I would explain it, is like, nobody has real conversations. But then the older I get, the more, you know, I'm closer to a lot of people who my closest core of friends I can have conversations with.
perhaps, I'm sorry to derail you, perhaps we should define, because I think that if I was listening to this 1 year ago, 2 years ago, I not offended, but I think that I would say, it's not me, like, of course, yeah, I would say, like, of course I have real conversations.
Yeah.
Like, the things, nobody thinks that they're wrong. So what would you, when we have these conversations, what would you say?
I would say ones that are, I don't know. I guess we're having adult conversations where you can be civil. You may disagree. You may agree. You don't. It's not like, and I'm not hearing you just preach, and I'm saying, yeah, because I just totally agree with you.
Yeah, you're being yourself, and you have your own opinions.
Right.
You're not
and
afraid
we're
of them.
leveling them. We're able to put them out on the table. Hey, maybe
and we're
agree.
combining them too. And that's the thing about a podcast too, is like having like such
fine.
great friends too. We can take like your ideas and mine ideas, and we can fucking ayahuasca plant them, like whatever. Great.
I don't know what
I'm watching too much Joe Rogan. You take like I guess the ayahuasca plant. You take 2 different plants. It's like the vine of one, and
you can grow them together.
Yeah, and they intertwine, and that's how you get. So, and it's 5-MeO-T, I think is what it's called, and it's actually a biome or something in our stomach, in our liver enzymes, that when you combine these 2 plants together, it gets through that liver enzyme or activates it, and you get ayahuasca. So the plant ayahuasca, if you eat it or whatever it is by itself, it doesn't do anything, but it has to be combined with this plant, which in humans deactivates or activates something.
Can it kill you?
No, it makes you have the most profound psychedelic experience ever.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
okay.
I went on a tangent. I didn't tell you what ayahuasca was.
Yeah.
You're like, what? This thing, does it move on its own? Is it a fucking...
They're thinking like, well, actually, I had this conversation with my uncle last night about trying different foods. And we were talking about, and I'd seen this on a documentary, and it was in Panama. And so it was when he had brought this up, I was like, oh my God, I've seen this.
Right.
And he was, I've never been to Panama, obviously, but he's explaining his experience. And I'm like, oh my God, I saw a documentary on that. Nothing he would have said to me had the situation been flipped, but cool enough that we were able to connect on that.
Right.
And it's this plant thing. Like they take a leaf of a plant and then another leaf, and they make it into like a box, and they put like nuts and bananas and like all these different types of things, and then they put it in hot water. They steam it, and it's like a steam pot plant, whatever. It's like a porridge. It comes out like porridge. So they eat out of this plant, and that's where I was going.
Wait, so does it like it sustains itself? Like you can like reuse this thing?
I don't
eat
know.
the thing?
I don't think you eat the thing. I think it's just what they cook it in. Oh, and I think they tie it at the top. Like they fold it up and then they tie it with like a yarn or something.
Imagine this conversation like before the internet, or like before like cultures really even dove into each other.
Yeah.
Like where it's like when you had been washing your fucking clothes in the river for your whole life, and then like you hear about like some European chick like, no, they had this thing where they take plants and they round it like this and they make detergent or whatever, soap or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that was the other part of the...
These things are revolutionary though. I know. I'm figuring it out though. So any random pops that you hear that I didn't edit out because I'm learning, it's not you. I am still very experimental with this podcast. I'm also an audio engineer who learns very hands-on, and what that means to me is I have to challenge myself. So I literally will purposely shittily set up stuff or do it completely different or completely backwards because I'm trying to figure out what I like, and I'm trying to figure out what sounds best. So she's hitting it, and it's
I'm
hitting
getting
things.
excited.
So
I talk with my hands.
I know, yeah. It'll get better over time. I can make one for sure promise is that like I don't think I'll ever be perfect, but every podcast will be better than the one before, like in some form. Like
adapting.
Maybe that literally means that I moved this little pop filter over 2 inches. That's a victory. There's a little small things that
identifying what it is about what video,
and that's how you gotta be patient with that. But anyway, so you were speaking on.
Technology again. We're back to that.
Yeah,
I was just saying like because of my my uncle's in his 50s, and I'm the age I am. Had I said I went to Panama and I was explaining this leaf thing to him, he would never have been like, I saw a documentary like that once, or I looked this up, or oh yeah, I've been researching plants or whatever. Like he wouldn't probably have ever said that because he didn't grow up where his first instinct is now go to the internet,
right?
Go check this out, go learn it this way. It's well, what do I have in my brain already that my parents taught me, that someone taught me, or life taught me, whatever.
Because we feel like we need to. So do you think it's because we feel so equal in every single conversation that we need to pull our level of understanding of what we're talking about no matter what it is?
I think I can, for me personally, I would think I don't know that. I want to know that. So let me go research it. Or let me, because then the next conversation that I go to where something like that comes up, oh my God, I have knowledge on this.
Right. Okay.
So we just pull knowledge from different areas than our
and so a lot of times we take that and then we get caught in this web. Right here is where we get caught in a web. You and your uncle didn't get caught in a web. You talked about this and it was wonderful. But a web of what most of us get caught in now is, well, what I know is different from what you know.
Right.
What I learned on this documentary seems to be different than what you're telling me firsthand.
Yeah.
And like the firsthand person, even though they went 20 years ago, they may not realize that it's changed a lot in 20 years as the world has. And so they may argue. So there's going to be a web here. And by web, I mean human created drama, let's say. So we're going to create this web of disagreement.
Also
here.
Age gap, misunderstanding.
Yeah, misunderstanding. Oh yeah, even I'm not saying these are intentional things. I'm just saying like the way that we've accidentally trained our brains to be with social media and shit. But yeah, I think being able to connect with more people really does mean I couldn't talk to you about Zimbabwe before I watched a documentary on Zimbabwe. Right. So this person on their couch now knows a decent amount of things that this person who went there actually knows. But they are different. They can't be like firsthand experience really is different. Like we have to, there needs to be some sort of like defining line.
And
there
I wouldn't say firsthand experience is always better because I've traveled a decent amount and I feel like I still couldn't tell you a whole lot about Paris, France. Mm-hmm. I could tell you what I did while I was there in this one little insignificant human in this huge giant city with all this history. I could tell you the little bit that I know from my experience there about some things, but somebody else might have like watched a 12-minute documentary and learned more facts and information than I did.
And so that's like who can we say is right and wrong? That's the thing is we get so caught up on like, well, who's right then? Like, what is Zimbabwe really?
There can't
and it's
be
like,
two perspectives.
Dude, we forget that we're fucking different. And like there doesn't have to be a right and a wrong in every situation. And that like that sentence like crumbles the way people think.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, like, it has to. Like, it's okay. Like, it is okay.
Shatter the thoughts you maybe once had.
Like, you can be completely a different person.
Your own.
Yeah. Yeah, they were installed in you as a kid.
You came as a
from
Microsoft.
Robots.
You came as a Microsoft.
This podcast is about robots. Microsoft, down with Microsoft.
What's the first Microsoft computer created? Like, what is? I don't know. I don't know history on that kind of stuff.
I want to be cocky and say that I know it, but I honestly don't. I know it's Apple stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of like
kind of
like I can think of like Windows 98. I think was the first thing that I had on my computer.
It was way before 98. What?
That's when we finally were able to afford a computer.
I think my dad was like fairly nerdy when we were younger. I remember we had like, before a lot of other people had games, we had like computer games. I would play like Need for Speed with little toggles. I love like remembering these memories that I thought that I lost. No. It was like on the computer, like a racing game where like.
Oh, I don't know. I
don't know. It doesn't really matter.
I just got really excited about Frogger though. I was like, yeah, you too.
Frogger?
Yeah.
Did you play Frogger like on like, I know it seems like a pinball.
Arrow keys?
What'd you play Frogger on? What's your primary Frogger? Like, was it like a game console or on an arcade?
No, it was a computer.
Oh, on the computer.
On the computer at my aunt and my uncle's
That's crazy.
house.
We grew up like, within 10 miles of each other our whole lives.
Yeah.
Or 20 miles. And I've never played Frogger on the computer, I don't think.
Really? Well, we had a an old school Nintendo, and then I think we were able to get it like Nintendo 64. We were like,
hell yeah, brother.
We didn't have a lot of gaming stuff. We really didn't have a whole lot of stuff. We had like the basic necessities, and we ate, and I don't know. Shit, I had a cool childhood though because I was outside. Like, we didn't have a bunch of shit. Like,
so okay, so explain. So where we're at, I'm getting so comfortably sidetracked. I just want to keep it like we don't really need essence. People find essence in our conversation. Right. So where we're at now is Castle Rock, and that's where I live now. Yes. So Jessica and I met after high school.
Yeah. But
we grew up within like kind of like, for lack of a better word, I didn't play sports, but like let's say rival schools. Like all the high schools in the area are rivals. Yeah. That's what we just. It's not terrible. It's fun. But and
it's
so
now it's just competition.
We don't hate each other. We don't burn each other's steak. But
it's just easy to make a joke about when you're in high school. Yeah.
But so now I live up here. Like I live like within half a mile of her where she grew up, went to high school. In this area, it's a smaller town.
Yeah.
Like what? So let's go and just describe Castle Rock. Like not from our naive high school perspective, which is we were also talking about like is a beautiful thing to really realize like, oh, like I belong here too. Like I am a part of the community. Like I'm here to, like, I literally go to the farmer's market. Like I have a yard here. I wave at people. Like I am a part of the community, not outside of the community who's just someone who like, there's a gatekeeper telling me what to do.
Comes in
so
out, right.
let's from your perspective then versus now, let's talk about Castle Rock.
Well, I mean, I think I mentioned this earlier, but I've always really loved Castle Rock. I think it's cute and I think it's so quaint, and I've always been like, oh, that's home. And it's a home that I've forever been like, it was so good to me. Castle Rock was so good to me. I grew up pretty cool, honestly. I was given a lot. But then I moved thinking like, there's more. I know there's more, and I've moved. And then now I come back, you know, just to kind of like, just to hang out with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And we say this every time we walk. I'm always like, it's so cute. Because the community members have really made it what it is.
Yeah, it's a nice little town. It's
and forever it's been that. I mean, it was such a classic. It was classic too. You know, like all of the coaches were pretty much either dads or like long-standing teachers.
Of course, like you probably knew who they were and who their kids were.
And their kids were, and you knew everyone in your class. Like, you know, sometimes Tyler will say, like, he didn't know. Oh, I think I went to high school with that kid, and I'm like, what? I knew every single person, and if there was a new person, I was like, oh, I don't know that person.
Yeah,
but
see, so because you lived. So, what was your graduating class?
I think like 120.
Okay, so
and that
ours
was pretty big.
I would say Kelso is probably the biggest of the 4 or 5 schools in the area within, let's say, 20-mile radius.
Yeah,
you know, the high schools. My graduating class 2010 in Kelso, Washington was 500 or so.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, it was pretty dang big. Like it was, and I'll definitely I'll double check that because but it was definitely a lot, over 400 easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so funny to think like, so you literally had an entirely right next to me, like right up here, like literally we would think of each other as rivals in a weird joking way, like we wouldn't realize
but we had no idea who the heck
we would
you guys
live
were.
out, like our interaction wouldn't be like, hey, we know we're playing this rivalry game, but like it's been great to meet you later in life.
Yeah.
Like no, literally we would say like, that bitch is wearing the color that's not my school. Yeah. So it's very fun, you know, to really let yourself play on that. Like this was kind of silly the way that I thought of things, like this versus back then. Like
I like the other thought that I really like is because I grew up with this thought that everyone here knew everyone and everyone either worked at the mill or they were a logger or whatever. And then you and Shaylee and Megan had moved here, and I was like, yeah, it's such a cool collaboration. Yeah, of my friends who I met.
Collaboration, I love that. Like to use the word collaboration with like your friends moving to your hometown is so dope because it really is real. Like
it is, because that you're part of me that you guys like know. You guys know me now, but like when you guys first moved here, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna understand like some of where I came from. And you go, the people that are at the gas stations are at the grocery store, like you know who they are, you see them.
Dude, you know what's so funny though is as when you live in the same small town, everybody else starts to grow too. So the people that live in the gas station right here, like right next to my house, one of the ladies cut my hair like the whole time I was growing up, like in Kelso. And then the other lady, the whole time I worked at the mall, like since I was 16 years old, she worked at Cool Scoops or whatever it was. Like she worked at one of the stores in the mall the whole time that I worked there too.
How crazy.
And so like we have all three like moved from our lives. And it's funny, that seems like such a simple, like, well, duh, dude, people move all around all the time. But when you really can take an outro perspective and look at like, oh, wow, it really is cool to see that, you know, I kind of bagged on this place when I was younger, just based off of my own childish tendencies of here's who I am versus who they are.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
In me too, Castle Rock was very, I'm going to use the word redneck.
Yeah.
And so that word is actually, a lot of people, it's very offensive apparently to a lot of people.
Oh my goodness, serious?
So yeah, so I actually had a lady on a plane ride who like explained, she wasn't offended, but she did explain to me like, you may be a little more careful with that word, which I'm not going to let people take away.
Who like works in the sun all day?
Yeah, it was. My explaining of it was like the people with rednecks were working all day, but the banks were creating more work for them just to give them. I'm totally going to butcher it. Look up the word redneck. But anyway, people work in the mill.
I think I know that it does go back and it is pretty offensive, but I think we're also.
Yeah.
I think for a very long time, we probably were able to be like, call me redneck. I don't care.
Right. Well, no, and that's
now it's
people wear redneck shirts like they're proud to be a redneck.
Yes.
But like,
People watch
so
Larry the
me,
Cable Guy, and they quote him religiously.
Get her done.
Get her done.
like, it's funny because me, like, I literally worked at a lumber mill after high school. I mean,
Yeah.
there was 5 years of working at a lumber mill. Like, and so me, who I thought I was, no, I'm a skateboarder, which literally skateboarders, like at Kelso, skateboarders versus rednecks was like a thing. Like, it was like a cliche.
It
like,
was a clique.
we literally would fight. Like, I have literally been beat up by rednecks. Like, literally, it was like a thing that grew up. And so it's cool seeing, like, oh, it's not just the whole town is rednecks. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, it was just like, there was a couple dickhead kids that I threw this entire town, everyone around them. I just assumed that they all sucked.
Yeah.
And it's something that I held on to without knowing I held on to it. It's not like I walked around like literally just like I would talk to everybody and whatever. But until more recently, I was able to actually see where I'm at in Castle Rock.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm part of the community. Like, and I'm not a redneck.
And I don't have
and like,
to be. Like,
yeah, and redneck is a term
rule.
that you have in high school when you're just like subjectively or not able to subjectively see yourself outside.
Long before we thought for ourselves.
Yeah.
As much as the actual age and developmental level is like, yeah, think for yourself. We only thought so much for ourselves. We really didn't think a lot.
So what about the stage growing up now? Like they're not able to think for themselves anymore. Like that's scary to me.
No,
like with the internet.
I wish I could remember what this video was. It was this radio station, and they were all having a conversation. And
I think it was Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Charlemagne.
I think it was. It was in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out in California, right? I want to say.
Yeah, I assume. Yeah. They're probably.
I thought maybe that was where. Anyway, I don't know. That's not
maybe
relevant.
Oakland or something. Yeah. I don't know.
It's not really relevant. That doesn't actually matter. But anyway, they were having the discussion about, and this was like, when you sent me that, I was substituting like nearly every day of the week. So I was with middle school students nearly every day, all on their phone, addicted to their phone, only talking about things on social media. Every like conversation that they had some kind of like social media innuendo or phrase or something. I mean, I was like seeing it, almost disbelieving, like, wow, these people are only living this way. But in that conversation that they were having, they were saying kids do not get the like time to them.
Go ahead and move it a little bit lower.
It's my hands.
Okay. Well, I can't see your mouth either, though.
Oh.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Like, if it takes up a little bit, that's fine. Keep going.
Okay.
So you're a substitute teacher.
So, no, I'm thinking they don't get time to themselves, because when they're at home and they say, I'm going to go be alone in my room, they're alone physically, but they're on their phones, they're on their iPads. There is zero time for them to meditate. So literally, when we were young, we actually had that time. You have to go to your room. You can't, even if you're playing with your toys, you're still like,
you're using your imagination. You're creating a world from your whatever you call soul or your inner God or your intuition, like whatever that is. That is shut down when you're with someone at all times.
Yes.
Like even codependent people.
Well, that's what I'm thinking we're creating. That's the trouble. We're creating that by you're busy here, so you're not thinking for yourself. You are literally busy on your phone thinking, wow, I see that Christina has posted this, and I see that Jocelyn posted this. Oh my gosh, look at this boy that's so cute because he has whatever, 450 likes. But they're not going home at the end of the day and sitting down and saying, I like to do this. I can create this. They're going home and, do you know what I mean? They're creating that like lack of.
Well, in there, the people aren't going to see it as a bad thing. They're going to say, like, of course, okay, like, yeah, sure, that's what I do, like, whatever. Like, it's because I have this and blah, blah, and they're going to justify. So whatever people may be saying after this sentence is a justification of getting our dopamine fix, like getting our little red dot. Like, like, all the science on this stuff is, like, the science is apparent. Like, we've all heard it. We all know, like, social media is bad for us, like, all that stuff. Like, but it's changing who we are. And it's, like, as someone our age, we were able to see again both, and now we have this, like, me anyway. Of course, we have this introspective thing of, okay, shit, we're now in this third stage of our lives. Like, these kids now had one stage of life and they're still in it, and we actually are on our third now. We had our childhood before technology, and we knew what life was like. Yeah, we had the present moment. Like, we even had, like, I had a very traumatic childhood, but I still knew, like, I had life, and I liked myself, and I was a very fun guy. Like,
You have very vivid memories of like
like I felt as if I knew who I was and what I liked and whatever.
You were in control of your own thoughts.
Exactly. Like they weren't inserted. I was able to hang out with myself, and I prided myself on hanging out with myself. Like I absolutely have always loved solitude. But so then the internet came around, and like it started out as fun games, and it's real fun, and then we get older, and then it's like I said, it comes
captivating,
from,
and then it's.
And then it's our whole lives. And then so we lived this life of before technology, and then we lived this life of we didn't really take a step back until right now, but like, oh shit, I was on that thing like for multiple hours a day. We should
call it the addiction, because it really, really was.
Addiction. So and here's the thing. What I want to get at is that the addiction that we have to our phones, to all of this shit that we can't seem to quit, is not our fault. It doesn't have to be anybody's fault.
Right. There is no need.
We're not looking for like the government is against us. Like this is something that this is actually at a very incredible time. Like this is something new. This is seriously an evolution. The internet this is up here with the industrial, like this is a industrial revolution of sorts.
Yeah.
Like, but it's something new. Like it's not even it's
you
not really
have to call it the industrial.
It needs its own category. Yeah. It's not like it's like here's how these answers fit on the Constitution of the United States. It's like no, this is something else. We need rules somewhere else for this. So from our let's say we're in our third stage of life now, and we're able to say like, oh shit, you kids are stuck in where we were at on our second. But since when we were at our first, we know what it should be like, what it was like. We know what beauty was when we were at our first stage of life before technology. Yeah.
Fun, genuine.
In being alone, in creating from your brain, your gut, your intuition, following your gut, knowing like what really makes you happy, not what you think is going to make you happy because these rules or other people said it's going to make you happy. Like, so I think, I guess just to summarize what I'm trying to say is it feels like people like you and me, like people who are out to save the fucking world or whatever we can, I guess.
Yeah.
It feels like our duty to point out in any way we can, not to hurt these kids' feelings or tell them that they're wrong, but say like, hey, we're realizing, I'm so sorry it's so late, but like we're realizing like what you guys are doing with your phones and what we accidentally said was okay is fucking you up. It's like, I'm so
brain
sorry.
Is two-dimensional at one point.
Yeah. Like,
at what point is it?
Yeah.
And I don't know any science behind that. And I actually probably should look.
I know a ton. Yeah, I'm not.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay, so I'm telling you, that's a naive thing. Like I research this shit so much constantly.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to make sure that I do on my podcast is not just blurt out random facts because it's like, oh, and I know that this many percentage of this many, because like there's so much subjectivity about that.
Right.
And that is not how actual things are solved. All I know is my intuitive, like I think in depth about my own thoughts for very long times during the day. Like I'm giving my opinion open to discussion. I'm not going to sit here and argue with anybody, but like,
I come up with a lot of ideals and then I don't research them because I just assume that I'm right because that's how my brain works, or that I have a good, decent understanding.
Yeah,
of it,
and so that's the thing though. And if there's an open discussion for it, like heck yeah, but like it is not worth arguing. Like we're not saying we're right or wrong, but we're saying like, hey, like here's what I think. And it seems pretty real. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Like, let's not say like, well, what have the scientists said? Because this is something different. This is not, so we're evolutionary changing. And when we think of evolution, we think of growing fucking tails. And then we used to be able to hunchback and now we can walk. Like we think of evolution from the monkey picture. Dude, like evolution is happening in our brains. It's like we're not following our intuitions of who we think we are any longer. Yeah. We're doing literally like escapades of like images of who we like. This seems like what I should like, right? And we follow that. And that's what we're saying. Like our age people, it seems like our duty of sorts to help the young people be like, hey, what you're going through now sucks. This anxiety, all these things that you're feeling is because these things that
real. You have
they're real.
Very much
they're real. And I felt them because I tried to not try to kill myself, but like was very close.
Yeah.
Like I want to be so honest with people. Just not just to be like, oh, I'm an honest guy, like that you're gonna listen to me because I'm just so hard hitting honest, but like it's like, no, this is just literally normal conversation.
Yeah.
This is conversation, not that.
You should be talking about these things. These are things you should be talking about.
And I'm telling you, and if you just open up the conversation with you and your friends to talk about these things, you'll be surprised. Like,
I don't want to say should be because I don't want to put any like, if you're not doing this, then by golly.
Right.
So I should just say I should. See?
But spending time with yourself and conversating, real conversation. So, okay, what is a real conversation? So let's make a list of things that what in this conversation? What is not a real conversation? What is something that doesn't really benefit you much? And how do you have a conversation that does benefit you?
Okay.
What's the line?
If you say, here's where it starts.
Okay.
How are you? Good.
Good.
That is not a conversation. That is not a
Okay,
conversation.
but we need room for small talk though.
Okay.
Like small talk is a very different. We haven't figured out
So
how
what
the
did
fuck.
you do today?
Okay, wait. Maybe we don't, wait. Hold on, hold on. Maybe we don't need room for small talk. Maybe we're still trying to accommodate a system that's fucking up. So, maybe when you come over to my house, and I'm not kidding. Like maybe when you come over to my house, I'm like, hey Jess, how are you? Instead of saying that, I literally, like.
Oh, I had this thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, like I instantly like, or maybe I look you right in the, I make a point to look you right in the eyes and I give you a hug and I say I love you for 4 seconds. Like so maybe I do that.
Deep intense staring.
No, I'm okay.
Seconds.
No, I know it sounds intense, but like really think about like, so like when my bros come over here, like it's this authentic, like you can see, like if I look back into these videos, like you can see like, oh, like that's kind of cool. Like I hugged my buddy, like very, like I was very in that moment. Like I do love him very much.
Which honestly, actually men do that often without realizing it when they like, when you guys grab hands and you like do this weird, like one-armed hug thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's serotonin release. It's
that's a cool thing that most men would never acknowledge. They have a feeling involved. It's just like, yeah, that's my bro. But it's like, bro, you're hugging each other.
Okay.
Like not even girls when they see each other, sometimes they're just like, like Shaylee and I were always like, hi.
But
bros are like, what's up?
Girls are robbing themselves then of good old fucking serotonin, man, or oxytocin maybe. The same thing that we get dopamine when it's like a reward. Yeah. So we hear a ding and we're like, oh, we get something now. We just heard the bell. We get it. We get a treat. So that's what the ding is, our dopamine. But I believe it's serotonin. Someone could double check me. I have it written on the wall somewhere. Can't read it. But so
it's one of them.
Serotonin is like literally when you touch someone. So like I've read a book. It was another Simon Sinek book, but he was talking about the handshake, like your gut feeling, like trusting your intuition, which like nowadays kids probably have no idea what that even means.
Right.
Like when you go to do a business deal, and you're like, all right, let's sign this shit. And he says, okay. And he signs it. And he's like, you sure to sign it? And you're like, let's shake on it. And he says, no. And he's like, no, I've got time. Like, let's just go ahead and sign it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have this gut feeling. Like, why do you want to shake it?
Not right.
But so when you shake hands with another human, you're saying like, I trust you. Like, I know that we're crazy, and I know that you could murder me at any time. Technically, like that's not what we're really thinking, but that's really the depth of what we're thinking. Right. I know that we have these crazy tendencies. You have crazy thoughts, just how I have crazy thoughts. But damn it, I trust you to do what's right. Yeah. I trust you to do what this paper says. And so when you don't have this, so touching another human releases, I think it's serotonin or oxytocin maybe. And it's an actual thing, like even a fist bump when you touch someone. Yeah. So I kind of wonder, all these long-term effects that we're not going to look at, maybe scientists aren't looking at for another 10 years, but like after social media, what our world looks like. So girls, because you guys are so, not you, this sounds terrible. Girls not touching each other as much as guys. Yeah. This sounds terrible.
No.
Guys hug each other and girls are being awkward is what I'm saying. Yeah. Like you girls are now, like you and Shaylee just missed out on something that me and Tyler get.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's not like that with all of my friends. So I don't know if it's maybe just dependent on, because I can read, Shaylee's not a very like touchy-feely person.
Persian. Yeah. Well, actually Tyler and I aren't super touchy-feely either, but that's like my best friend.
See, but that's weird because I think that Tyler is really touchy-feely. But maybe that's just like because I'm a female, you know what I mean? And he like really, it's an endearing thing for me. But
you notice every time he touches you.
Yeah, of course, because I like appreciate.
Well, so that's something that like that. Yeah, I'm just pointing out. I guess that it's literally a chemical that is released in our bodies. Like we forget that why we do things and the things that we think are actually chemicals. Like, yeah. So when you touch someone else, it is releasing a chemical in your body, and we like it. And we have addictions towards it, and we have like, why the fuck would we not do what we want to like? Yeah.
But that, I mean, that's how it is. You know, like if I go see my family yesterday, for example, I gave out 25 hugs as soon as I walked to the door because I was just like elated to see them. And then I also was able to connect with them. And then same thing when I leave. But I do, over time, you know, my girlfriends that I lived with in Arizona, I don't even remember if we used to hug or not, but we hug all the time now. We're always, you know, the more comfortable that
our friend group has, all of us have really rippled that outward, I think.
Yeah.
We are a very, very hugging friend group. And it seems like
I grew up with that. Yeah. That very like comforting. And so I think for me, I've carried that on and in like a, this is so cool. Because I love when people, I do love when people hug, you know, and I,
like
and
you're
I've
letting
never
down.
been,
I mean, if you really think about it from it's the opposite of our primitive being, like another man who could, like, again, like, not that we're always thinking fight or flight, but like Tyler could fucking murder me.
Yeah.
Like I'm opening my heart to his heart when we hug each other. And like he could instantly stab me, like the typical movie scene we've seen of just stabbing in the side. Like,
right, your best
so
friend
letting down,
too.
fighting that like primitive, like, but so
the instinctual thought that predator or
exactly. Like it's something. So anyway, life pro tip real quick is to hug your bros and hug your girls.
And hug your bros.
Girls, do you need a hug? Go get one right now.
1-800
hugs. I don't know.
HUGZ.
And we're gonna get pulled from YouTube for putting
big hugs.
A site on porn or something.
I don't know. I don't actually have anywhere to go. That's not a website. Don't go there.
I'm gonna go there. So let's just link back to I think it's pretty important to emphasize the difference that social media, like, and we're not attacking social media. We're not attacking anybody who uses social media. We both I've used social media a lot. Like I didn't personally.
I still use Snapchat with like 20 people.
Right. Yeah, but you've narrowed it down. Was there a while where you had 130 people?
Like, actually at 129, and I remember thinking,
well, that's weird.
What?
Yeah.
I don't even, and not to say that I'm not friends with those 130 people, but do I want to be your friend every damn day?
Well, no, I mean, here's the thing though, is we forget our capabilities. Like, we don't want to admit when we're wrong. And this stems from that process. It stems to, we don't want to admit that we can't fucking handle that much information all day.
Right.
Like, let's say we only have 100 slots for memory good stuff in our day. 24 hours, you got 100 slots for memory good stuff. I'm deeming
and that's
that
a lot for a
day.
I'm
going to copyright memory good stuff. That's a lot.
Okay.
And
memory good stuff.
And that, you wake up and you get on your phone, and all of a sudden you got 6 of those motherfucking memory spots taken up because you laid on the phone for half an hour.
1.5 minutes you've been awake.
Yeah. And so those things, when you wake up, whether you like them or not, like whether this is on Reddit, whether this is on YouTube, whether this is on social media, like even if these are good apps, texting is sport, of course, texting, emailing.
That is my downfall, so that's
I'm dude, you insert in your whole day.
The tone of whatever you woke up to.
Exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right. And so really, and this isn't just like some fancy thing. This is really, you can simplify your day like this. This is like, okay, so then you wake up and you go and you get coffee and you take a pee, and that's one more slot. Okay, now you got 7 slots filled up. And then you, I got to poop. So you go into the bathroom after you just peed and you poop. And as you're pooping, you're on social media again, or you're now checking your other apps, or now you're whatever. And so, well, that's 8. And then before you even leave your house, you have 8 out of 100 things taken up. And also those things have now.
Probably before you even get in the shower.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, I don't shower. I do yoga. I don't shower now.
Well, I don't shower in the mornings. That's for sure. Usually it's like mid-afternoons, sometimes the nights.
Yeah, I've always been a morning shower, but I've been because I want to push against my edges. I've been like, I'll go a whole day without showering. It's crazy for me. But
I'm definitely
But yeah, so I think, but anyway, so waking up around social media or around other outside influences to where you're not alone. This is, I guess, like the importance of being alone and being able to think through your thoughts, like is taken away. Like, you only have so many out of your 100 thoughts. Out of your 100 thought slots,
your thought Plickens.
You have like a lot of them are supposed to be for you. Like there's some days, like the days that I feel my best mentally, mental health wise, are honestly like where 90% of those thoughts were me, and the other 5% are like I had a good convo with my mom who's living with us for a little bit, or and the other 5% is like 1% hanging out with the cat because I made sure to make time with this cat that I don't like, but I want to like it. And then Shayla, you know, I only give her 4%, I guess. But no, like you got to realize your day. Yeah, I know. I was just thinking about yesterday. I was hanging out with him and we just had fun. It was like
sometimes Shayla's not here in the mornings when you're up too. Probably.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, most of the time it's by myself. Like because this is my work from home process is. I wake up and I'll have casual conversations in the morning if my mom or Shayla are awake, but most of the time they aren't. If they are,
start immediately to work.
I put headphones in and I go outside and I meditate within 20 minutes of being awake.
Yeah.
And so for the rest of the day, I don't really talk to them because they know that I'm in like a
place.
Yeah. There's a little interjection.
It's like going to work.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. So, okay. So, and that's another thing too. Like the new world. It sounds like Illuminati or something.
New world.
Aladdin, go see it. It's good. There's different jobs like mine. Like older people, let's say even in our town, like older people who have worked at a mill their whole life, whatever, they are living a different life now than the kids who, when they are their age, it's going to be different. Like these kids growing up who we're talking about, let's say under the age of 20 or whatever, 27, whatever, they're going to have a different work life. Like me, I literally smoke weed during the day.
Yeah.
I'm at home.
Your job is to be
I can eat whenever I want. Yeah. My job is a creator. Like, and so as long as I get my deadlines done, I get my things done. And then, once a month I fly to a different whatever. As long as I show out there, it doesn't matter what I do the other 3 weeks. I'm never micromanaged. Yeah. And so like, this is an entire world that's going to grow up only being their own bosses.
Right.
And I'm telling you, when you are so reliant on other people, all these dreams that you want to do, and all these kids that are like, they want to be this and they want to be that, and all these things, like these things require, if you want to be successful at them, they require either working with other people in a very well way, in which case you need to be mentally intelligent, or mentally emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, I was going to say emotionally too.
Mentally, you need to be smart just to work with other people.
You'll be smart.
Mentally, emotionally intelligent.
Capable.
And I truly think, from a man who has lived like my life is so exponentially better just in the last year than it's ever in my 26 years of life. Like, and it seems like it's because I'm able to really retreat with myself and sort myself out. And I think that social media,
to put yourself first, to devote yourself to what you genuinely enjoy.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is as much as I would say, or I thought that I was doing that, you don't know what you fucking think unless you get alone and you just talk to yourself. Like in me, I'm a very in-depth, intricate, like thinker anyway. I've always been like that when I was younger. And that's why I said social media kind of sucked me into this, like out here. I'm not
think at a
like,
distance.
Yeah.
Think about
who I am. Like, let other people control my thoughts. Like let other people influence my thoughts, I guess. And think that that's who I am. But like
let majority influence. Cause that is really what it is. It's not necessarily controlling, but
because they're not doing it on purpose. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah. We're just living our lives, like thinking that we're doing it right. To be really
fair, maybe this is different than a lot of people. I don't really know. Because I'm someone who like, I don't like makeup. I'm not super into makeup, and I'm not super into fashion, and I'm not super into like super girly stuff. So a lot of the time, what I put on Instagram is like, oh, I felt good today about myself, or I really loved this part of my day. It was never like, it was more inward, like, oh, I love this, so I want to share this with people, versus like, I want people to share love with me about how I looked in this photo. Like, obviously I liked it enough to let all of you see it. Right. Which means I loved it. I loved it first. And then now you guys, if you guys like it, that's cool. But I do feel like a lot of the time social media was like telling me in my mind, oh, you should learn better makeup. You should learn cuter fashion. You should learn how to take better pictures. And nobody was telling me, just like the wearing the mask out in public,
But you felt you had to, right?
I felt not even that I had to, just like if I wanted to make it, if I wanted to be better on social media, it was almost for me becoming like I was kind of dulling myself and my skills to adapt to what everyone else would like on Instagram.
Exactly.
But it's crazy because I still was posting the things that I loved. I love myself. I love my dogs. I love the activities and my friends. But I was moving these like the way I would normally edit to like what was the most.
Right. You would spend a lot more time. You would overthink them. Like it's not like you were just like completely lying. Like there was like I was never completely lying. It's like I would showcase like I would paint a jacket and like I would showcase it. Like I generally like I did paint this. Like I like doing. I didn't paint this for attention, but the amount of time that I took to like take a good photo of it and edit it and like oh my god, and then you got to think of a caption. Like
the other thing that was kind of jading cleaners. Yeah, and I wonder about that too. Is I wonder if those are the kind of people who like things to be like neat, tidy, done. Because like even God, I think back to this is such a funny like back in middle school when I first met Brittany Jennings. Right, and she had like when MySpace was just coming out, she had the coolest fucking MySpace, and I was like, oh, she knows so much about this. Her MySpace, like everyone was like, she knew how to do the underscores and the crossouts and the italicized and the colors and the song. That
I feel like I knew that Brittany had a dope ass like.
Dude,
I feel like her glitter graphics were off the charts. I think
she was like, she always had the best
and she
pictures.
Took the camera angles from up here. Like she was the first one to unlock that. I think.
That's what I'm saying. She was like the epitome of like you don't know about social media. I know about fucking social media
right.
at a very young age. And so I remember thinking like, but it's things like that where I think certain people have this knack for like I used to not care about my Instagram. And then I suddenly started being like, oh, I want it to be clean, all the same color. Which
you want
is
as a whole, you want it to look good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that part of me, like that was what I was addicted to, was making it look perfect. And because I'm a perfectionist.
Right. Yeah. See, that's what I love doing
perfect,
too.
So.
Like I enjoy the representation of who I'm saying I am. Like, it's not even just like, here's who I think I am. It's like, here's
appearance of me.
Here's like the cover art of who I think I am. Like, I would always say the highlight reel. Yeah. Right. But like the thing about that, and that's cool. Like, I think there is a lot of people have a general understanding, I guess, that like, I know that you also wear sweatpants outside of this. Yeah. Like, I know that whatever, like, but we say we know that, and we say I know, but then we see them in person, and we're like, they're not as hot as they were in social media.
Yeah.
Or like these are real things. Like, and we joke this shit off. Like, well, yeah, of course I'm not. Like, I've been drinking. Like, whatever. Like, like whatever you would normally say after that sentence in your friend group, in your group message with your friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's bad. Like, we're attacking ourselves with comedy in justifying the weird shit that we're doing, and like. I think we're able to take a step back and look at that now and be like, oh shit, that's bad. Don't do that, guys.
So this is a question I held on to a lot, because I am very witty and I am very like, I'm a smart ass, and I'm always going to have something to say, always. And I don't dislike that about myself. I actually really appreciate that about myself, that I'm a talker. I used to be like, I talk too much. But other people told me that.
Right.
I never told myself that. I always thought, fuck yeah, keep
going. What does it even mean? Like, who says that? Here's the amount that you can talk during the day.
Yeah.
You're allowed to talk this much around these many people.
A word cap.
Yeah. Hey, you hit your 1600, you just shut your mouth.
Shit, I would have been done like in the morning. But
you'd have been done talking to your dogs.
That's fucking true.
Dude, Tyler and I literally talked about this yesterday, about how often you talk to the dogs. Like, he's like, yeah, we have full conversations where I don't say anything for 20 minutes. Like, that sounds about right.
That's so true.
Because they're not. That's the thing, is you're just trying to figure out what you think. You're not actually trying to. So okay, so let's get back to that. Okay. The essence of how great that is, Jessica, is being able to talk to yourself is how we sort ourselves out.
Right.
When you're always taking in something, you're never able to either organize it or output what you're doing. And so people who are always, I want to emphasize, even lyrical music in your headphones, like even movies on in the background, like anything that is inputting something that's not like a neutral, like let's say like a fucking piano or like a fountain sound.
Yeah.
Like sitting in a room by yourself with no input. Can you do that?
Can I?
Well, I mean, not. Of course you can.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I was like, well, yeah.
I'm saying, like, as third stagers here in life, like, can these stuck in second stage people, like, and the thing is they're gonna say, no, I can't. I have anxiety.
Yeah.
So the thing is, so what I've learned more than anything is, when you push up against things that you need to change, or like you think that like you don't like, so these are true things. Like, you are experiencing the human emotion of anxiety.
Right.
You are not actually your thoughts though. So
you're also giving worth to, or giving weight to anxiety.
Yeah. You got to remember, like, you're still in here, like whatever you're saying out loud, there's still like an intuitive you that's sitting here like, okay, motherfucker, we're strapped in.
Interjection about the word anxiety. I forgot about this.
Let's talk about that. I want to talk about the word anxiety too, because the anxiety and depression have been hijacked by BuzzFeed, I think, right?
I don't know.
Is this where you're going?
No. Well,
okay, let's talk about it.
I don't know. I am thinking about the word anxiety itself and how we've given weight to it. So maybe this is reeling back. Okay. When I was mental health counseling, before I moved to middle school, I had a lot of like 8-year-old kids. It was a weirdly, like, it was a weird amount of like, all of these kids were 8. I think I had like 6 of them, and they were of my first month on the job. And I was like, why did I get all the 8-year-olds? Like, I don't know what to talk to them about. Oh my God.
You're like, what is an 8-year-old like?
Well, honestly, that's like my least favorite age, I think, because they're just so annoying. They seem so annoying. They have so many
8 years old. If you're 8 years old listening for whatever reason, you're fucking annoying. Get it together.
And I am so sorry, but 8 is awkward.
There's some kid sitting in a car seat still. His mom's overprotective, but she's listening to our podcast because she does your hair on the weekends or something. Like,
dude, between like second and fifth grade, kids ask too many questions and they want too much attention. They drive me nuts.
I think we don't actually want the answers. We just want to ask why.
Yeah. Also, you just want to be like, watch me do this ballerina turn. It's not even fucking
You just
cool.
want attention.
It's not parkour. I don't want to watch you.
Okay, so you have 6 8-year-olds.
So anyway, I have 6 8-year-olds. And I had a lot of them that, and I don't think this is just, I mean, obviously I worked in a nonprofit, so we did a lot of state insurance. We did a lot of like homelessness, foster children, that type of thing. Right. So there's turmoil in the house. I do not think for any 8-year-old, regardless of the situation, I think that most 8-year-olds are probably like having this same feeling because their parents, I can tell you that when I was sad, my dad never said, let's talk about you being sad. Mm-hmm. My dad probably did more things like, and this isn't like a direct, Dad, this is what you did wrong.
No, this is we're pointing out these are things that now in this new world we can talk about because these are things we're looking back and say, hey, we could do this a little bit better as everybody, not just you. There's no faults being pointed here at all.
Not at all. He would say, you know, if I was sad and he didn't know why, rather than exploring it and trying to figure out, again, you know, this is my business mindset, but here's the challenge. Here's what we can, you know, here's the possible things that we could do. And then also, here's the solution, or here's 5 solutions based on whatever you think, you know, let's try them out. So rather he would just say, do you want a cookie? Let's go outside, do this. Let's do something fun you want to do. He would reward my sadness. And he, you know, and I don't think it was too much that I became spoiled because we obviously didn't have the means to be spoiled, but I lived a very rich life, if that makes any sense. Right. But I don't ever remember my dad coming to me and focalizing. Is that a word? Focalizing, yeah. Focusing on a specific feeling or emotion I had, right? And then describing it, and then finding a way to get over it.
Because how could he possibly do that? He doesn't know how to do that with himself,
right?
Like that's the thing. Like nothing bad against him. It's literally just something they've never been taught. It's something that we are forced to think about now.
Yeah, but so anyway, I think my moral of the story is these 8-year-olds now who I'm helping, they're learning the word anxiety.
Right.
They're saying, because rather than us figuring out how to identify the emotion and then work on it, we just say, as an all-encompassing word, angry or anxiety. Yeah. Anger and anxiety.
If it's something you don't, I don't like that, it is anxiety and you're experiencing.
And we don't deal with it. We don't outright say, actually, I'm feeling a little bit embarrassed because how many kids are feeling embarrassed at that age? Yeah. Every freaking kid.
Because we don't look in depth of like, okay, so what are you really feeling? Because if you sit down and fucking talk to them instead of just trying to get them away from that feeling and try to hide that feeling and push it away, if you just sit down and talk to them, which granted it's super hard to do. There's a lot going on in our world, but like you'll get them like, so why do you feel like this? Why are you crying? Oh no, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Like whatever they get down there. Like,
I don't know. Then we can say, okay, then. Well, there probably doesn't need to be tears. If you don't know, then maybe we should be crying.
And so in your job as a parent or an adult or whatever, anybody who can influence is say like to point it out to them like, there you go, you silly goose. Like you don't even have to be mad. And they're like, oh, or that's like, how my emotions work.
Oh, you don't know, but you seem to be really upset. So if you're really upset,
like, okay,
there must have been something.
Yeah, and they don't want to feel any more than you want them to feel it. So if you sit down and be like, okay, well, shoot, man, all right, you're 8 years old. Like, okay, so what do you like? Oh, so what Cynthia said made you mad? That would probably make me mad too. You know, you get down to their level and you talk to them and you tell them like, this is how we work through our emotions. But there's nobody get down to their level anymore because there is a very huge disconnection with young age and older people. Like, and this is literally even like 8 years old versus 27 years old. Like this is even 16 years old versus 57.
Yeah.
If you are, let's say, younger than 30, you are disconnected as fuck. Then like there's a huge gap.
Yeah.
Say 25 even to 90.
I think disconnected, but also like you're disconnected, but you've also been made fully aware of mental health and emotions, right? Because in school, you now, in the schools now, especially, they're saying like, what color do you identify with? If you're red, you're angry. How do we fix that? They're working on that. They're doing some social emotional stuff, which God, I wish they could have when we were young.
Right.
Because instead, you know, and then there's people who, this kid has ADD or ADHD, whatever we've decided to diagnose him with. But the teacher, rather than saying, sit down, he asks somebody, can you take him for a walk?
Right.
We're able to do that now. Yeah. That's what the freaking kid needs. Yeah. He wants a distraction. He wants something. And it's, you know, I get it. Obviously, we can't be taking the kids out 15 times a day because they're distracted. Because that's like Pavlov's bell. You know,
right.
You teach someone to do it and they're going to do it. But
I think the essence there is that like we are now, we've always known we're very different the way that we learn things. Like the way that like an ADHD kid, it's very hard for him to sit next to, we're just saying a general ADHD kid, whatever that means in your brain. Sitting next to a kid who is very like a straight A student of 4.0, who like is very good. Like literally if we were younger, Shaylee sitting next to me. Yeah. Like I don't fucking learn the same way that she does. And also her life is going great and my life is an absolute brush fire at home.
Yeah.
Like in trying to have these two people say, hey, get the exact same focus and get your head in the game right now. We're learning fucking statistics.
And you better pass the test on this because you better know this.
And you're also sitting there like, why do we need to learn it? Because I'm someone who needs to know why, like I had said, right? I need to know why before I even start these trail. And you're saying, why do I need to learn it? And they're saying, this is what you learn in school. And because I'm like,
it's school.
Why do we learn in school? What is school? And I'm literally like trying to figure out like why we're doing any of this shit.
Because at home, your Maslow's hierarchy, you're going through like, I don't have security at home. I don't have safety.
What's Maslow's hierarchy?
Maslow's hierarchy.
I know I've heard of it. What's
So like your most basic needs are like food, water, shelter,
right?
Clothing maybe is one of the, and then once those things are okay in your life,
right? The things
and those things are functioning well. Then you can move to the second level. Yeah. And the second level, I don't know, how they go. I know the very basic, and then the very top is like self-identity. So you're moving from this. You can't, if you're homeless, you cannot go to school and focus on, or if your parents are fighting, you don't
it's
feel
not
safe,
an option. Yeah.
You can't go to school and think, I'll just set this out here on this counter when I come into class and I'll learn physics.
Yeah. You don't have that ability and your parents don't have the ability right now to teach you because they're causing this terrible thing. Like they don't want to be doing that. Holy shit. Like, of course they don't want to make a terrible life for their kids, but we're accidentally living out the shit that our parents put on us.
Right.
On accident.
Like I was saying, your needs aren't being met.
Yeah.
So then you're not able to move to learning, and then you're not able to move to this next. I wish I could remember what all the ones are. I always remember the most basic one because I think social services, I've been in it so long that most of
so is it like a hierarchy of needs? Like we need, so for example, when we walk into a building, we need to trust that whoever the workers were who built the building built it these correct ways. It's not going to fall and kill us. Like we all need trust, even that sense. Like, is it like that extension of that?
I mean, I guess it could be an arm of that. Yeah.
Like these are what we need in order for society to work.
To live, to live on yourself.
Okay, so this is before society. This is just to survive as a human.
Internal.
Okay.
So
we'll definitely have to look this up because I'm totally probably messing it up. But
well, no. I think you're. I'm trying to explain it. So like I'm picturing because it's a triangle. So imagine a triangle. Gotcha. Remember the food triangle?
Yeah. Okay, we don't fucking get me started on the fucking food triangle. I will freak out.
Just picture that outside triangle with the and the little like columns in it. Okay. So the bottom column, it basically is a theory that if you're going to school, this is a good example. So you're a 8-year-old boy going to school, but your mom and dad just went to jail and you just found your mom dead. This is very drastic. Crime junkies all over again. You found them dead, mom dead, dad's gone. So you don't have any security anymore or any safety feeling because your two people who you trusted the most are no longer in your life. And then you get moved to somewhere that's not a home. You sit in the social services office for 8 hours until somebody can come take you.
And this perspective is all from an 8-year-old perspective. This isn't adult thinking. This is an 8-year-old trying to understand their life.
The world. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So then, oh my gosh, I'm kind of hungry. As an 8-year-old, you don't make food yet, probably. Yeah. So you're relying on your parents who are now nowhere to be found.
Because your answer how to get food is go to your parents.
And you don't.
Now it's not there.
Your parents said don't talk to strangers. So you don't want to talk to the social service worker or the cop. So you're sitting in here thinking, I'm so hungry. Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten since, I don't even remember when because my dad went to jail last night when I was still sleeping and I woke up to this. So this 8-year-old's thinking all these things aren't being done for him. So he has no food and he has a shelter, but he's still thinking about his other. He
doesn't trust it because he's still in a stranger's place.
Yes.
Like, what is this building I'm in? What is this? Like, I don't trust this.
And I'm still really hungry.
I was taught not to trust this.
My strength. I don't have my mom and my dad. My security's gone.
Yeah.
And so basically that's like the most primal thing. What do we used to need when we were cavemen, per se? Right. We needed food, shelter, and water.
Yeah.
Right? So we needed the most basic instincts. So and I use like homelessness as a good example as well. If you don't have a home and you don't know where you're staying from night to night and you don't know if you're going to be cold or hot or if you're going to get any food for the next 5 days, you cannot start working on the next level of yourself. You can't start
You have
working
no
on
ground
a
level.
dream. And I say this for substance abuse. That's a huge one. So if you're someone who is an addict and you are not set up. This is why this theory in Holland or whatever works, because they're setting them up with a home. They're setting them up with food and water. They're setting them up with a job. They're literally their government is setting them up to be functioning at the very least.
Like, let's give you this. We know that humans need this lowest level of this lowest denominator. This is the absolute. This is what humans need to get themselves to sort it out.
Right.
If
to
we
be
can
a
give
functioning human.
That's what. Yeah, we should totally be able to give people that, right? Like Holland,
Right.
whatever. So they did a thing, right? So this was the place where they did, like they opened up drug facilities, like for drug users, right? Is it the same place? Yeah. So which you could probably explain that a little better than I can.
So they opened up, and I think I want to say it was cocaine, maybe, or heroin. I don't know if it was heroin. I don't know. Regardless, well,
I mean, those are was it one of the fun ones or one of the not fun ones? I mean,
it's hard to know.
Just kidding.
But they allowed these people to come in, and it was, I would say it's essentially set up like a social services or a welfare office, something along those lines, where you come in, we can give you a whatever dose you choose. And there, that would be, we would have a really hard time with that here, because who's to say your dose is too high? Whatever.
Right. We'd almost have to start them out with it always. We'd almost have to get a packet built on them. Like, okay, we started out with our always 10 milligram or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, fuck.
Right. And I do think that they do that. I think
they must, because it's just reckless to be like, you want 100? Are you sure? He's like, yeah, bro, 100.
Yeah. And then again, then you have to think about who's going to provide that. But that came from their taxes. That's what I think that they had decided. Anyhow, they come in, and these people are allowed a daily dose. And I don't know how many times they were allowed in or out or whatever, but even if it was once for free, then
this is allowed. You go into like, this is literally like going into the hospital to a floor. Yeah, it's literally, you go here. So imagine your dignity. Like, if you're a drug user, you're not going to feel like you're not a piece of society. You're not going to feel like a piece of fucking scum who has to hide. You're not going to feel like you need to go into an alleyway to meet some sketchy dude who you hate, but you have to maintain this relationship with because he's your dealer.
Right.
Like, you literally go into this place, and it's white, and there's a lady, and she's 45, and she drives a Mercedes. She's friendly to you. She looks you in the eye.
Mom.
Yeah, she's Stacy's mom. You see what's up with Stacy. Like, hey, when I get it together in 5 months, can I talk with Stacy? Can I hang out with her?
Right.
What?
Yeah.
No, but just the act of that, opening up these clinics.
Yes.
Like, that gives people obviously the stability that they need to actually start a ground of life again.
Yeah.
But it reminds them that not everybody fucking hates them, and not everybody sees them as just a piece of dirt on the side of the road.
It's also a home in a way. It can be a home.
Right. You're very right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Because it's an
It's a baseline. If all else fails, if all else fails in their life, they're going to sleep on the front porch of that place.
Right. Or near there or something. Yeah. Right. So anyway,
at least we can handle it there. Yeah.
Yeah. The essence of these places is that they give the lethal dose, or, not lethal.
Lethal dose. Hopefully not.
Legal.
Legal.
I don't know what they legalized or not. Regardless, they go in, and then they also were there to help these people get housing, get a job.
Because people don't know, how do you know? Okay, you got to, hey, get your shit together. What does that mean? They don't know how to get it together.
Also, how many times? I mean, God, I filled out an application. Actually, I've had enough jobs in my lifetime that I filled out a W-2 easily 27 times. That's insane, but I've had so many jobs. I have filled out so many W-2s, and I still, to this day, have to ask questions about my application, my resume, whatever it may be. So you imagine someone who doesn't have my experience trying to fill out their first application.
Dude, yeah. We don't
create a resume or whatever.
The stuff that we're taught in school is not... Okay, well, it may be different now, but it wasn't super relevant, it didn't seem like.
No,
we needed to know that kind of shit.
The last time I made a resume before I graduated high school was 9th grade. And you know what I was doing? Brittany Jennings and I were stealing fucking cookies from the store. We were not in class. We would
we're all talking about kids these days and their social media, and we're just stealing cookies.
I think it really, honestly, life got me back for that kind of stuff. But not life got me back, but I definitely...
Karma kicks in of sorts.
Yeah, it took some hard knocks.
What is karma to you? I feel like the Instagram Ross on sale for $7.99 poster, and I'm just saying because I have plenty of those.
Karma.
Yeah, what is karma to you? What does karma mean?
I wouldn't say oh, that guy murdered, so he got shanked in prison.
Yeah, he will be murdered.
It's not eye for an eye. For me, it's yo, I did 15 things wrong in this same one day. And then today I accidentally tripped over something. it's like life saying like, hang on, take a minute to maybe think about some doing better. Or it's like little things that just kind of give me the indicator of like, see how good this feels when you are a good person. Karma's not always negative for me. I think karma a lot of the time is like, hey,
like a reminder.
How does it feel right now? Because you just like did this nice thing for someone. Like sometimes at work, no, I don't necessarily want to go wipe down the tables for you when you could do it.
Right, yeah.
But I'm going to go do it. And then I'm going to be like, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, because
that past 3 minutes, I could have just been standing there twiddling my thumbs.
Well, so that's the thing is right there that you don't automatically, this isn't something like if you wipe out the tables for your coworker, you receive a magical gift of karma. Like, no, this is something that you need to be intelligent enough to be like, I know that this person only has 100 slots in their day.
Yeah.
And instead of making them take one, I'm going to use one of mine and I'm going to go clean that fucking table. Like for you giving up like, girl, I got you. I'll go clean that table. Like, like that to me is like, so good karma is like you give yourself or allow yourself to open up to that feeling of like, I just used one of my 100 slots for Jennifer over here.
Yeah.
Because I know that she has 100 fucking kids at home and her life's rough. Like I would do little things that would be instant karma for me, like receiving of karma. Like I would feel good. Like, and this isn't even ego based. I would feel good about, I literally had a guy that I used to work with that would fall asleep at work. And like, he would never like in ridiculous ways, like he was a hard worker. He was a good guy. But I also know that like we would BS enough to where he has literally 4 kids or 5 kids, I think, and they were adopting 2 more or something. Like he was literally dog tired. So he'd fall asleep and it takes me 2 seconds to just do a little more work. I was kind of tired. It kept me awake anyway. Yeah. But like the thing about karma, the reason why I asked you what you think about it is the secret of karma that people don't understand is that you give it to yourself.
Yeah.
Like you have to open up. So the good karma, you have to open up to receive it, but bad karma like receives you in ways that you don't know.
Yeah.
Like good karma, you get to choose. Bad karma, you don't get to choose. You choose the bad decisions you made, but the way that reacts later on in life, it makes your thoughts polluted or whatever.
Yeah.
That's on you and you don't know how it's going to be. So at least if you're going to choose your karma, choose good karma because it feels good. You know exactly what it is. Like it's not necessarily safe and it's not always predictable, but it's like, I know that I'm going to try my best to at least make this person feel better. So.
I think people use the word blessings also as good karma. And then because karma is almost a superstition and because blessing is identified with a religion, a lot more people use the word. I say good karma because it doesn't have to be good karma. Like, oh yeah, I won the lottery or I went to the, I got this free thing. Like good karma is just the littlest, simplest thing.
I think that the word karma, I think that we all have like with our cultures all just being fucking clashed together with everybody just like connecting so quickly and so in-depthly, like our language is kind of being teetered a little bit and it's a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Like words like karma, like, so we see words like, so let's say even BuzzFeed words, like we see these words and we kind of take the meaning that we've been given and we just, all right, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Like, so we're like, if we know literally the word karma, like there's kids who they never learn the word karma in school, consciously at least. And then they know what karma means based off of one Instagram account they follow.
Yeah.
And that Instagram account could be like, karma's a bitch. It's going to get you.
Yeah.
Bitch, if you ding my car, you're going to get in a car wreck. Like, and people literally walking around as if like, this is how the world works. Like, and language is very tricky. Like we have a lot of slang happening.
That is unfortunately very true and very wild.
I mean, that's what people think karma is. That's what people think the word ego means. People think the word ego means like something equally as obtuse as that. People think it means like, oh, it's when you're really cocky. And it's like, no, that's, I could write, and I don't know if I'm writing it, but like there's a book about ego that I could write. It seems like I'm writing it every day. Like trying to explain what the fuck ego is to people. Like, like the words are taken from us.
If you didn't say the words, so say maybe this would be more realistic for us to do is to give an explanation of what's happening and then say, this is the word, like ask, like what's the word that's coming to your mind right now? And
what does that mean to you? Like, what does that word mean?
So the descriptions that you're giving, right? The book that you're writing, if you said you did not say the word ego in there at all, and they have all these descriptions, they might come up with a hell of a lot different, like, dictionary definitions for what you're writing about, not ego.
Yeah. See, I
think we only have one connection. When as soon as you say the word, our brain automatically connects to the most commonly known, thought about, processed connection. So ego, cocky.
See, so I think there's a huge danger in that. we think when we're arguing, let's just say our left versus our right, when we're arguing, hardcore as Americans, whatever, we think we know what each other means. We don't. I think we're fucking talking different languages that sound similar. And we're like, so by this, you mean this. And you're like, what the fuck are you saying, you idiot?
Wet? No, there's water, so it's rain.
Yeah. No, it's dangerous. Like, it's something like, so even think back to like my example of like using the word rednecks. It's like, when I say rednecks, like, I now know just by learning something new that like there's places in the world where like I probably shouldn't say rednecks. You
can't say that, yeah.
Yeah, but like us around here, it's like very normal. So this is the exact same word with multiple meanings, and it's not one of these complicated like new / K-N-E-W, I knew, or night / day and night. This shit is new. This is a new N-E-W. We invented this shit on accident, guys. We gotta talk about it.
Holy shit.
Dude, I'm just saying, like, the shit that we accidentally invented a clash of languages, and we're fighting within the clash of languages. That doesn't need to be there. I think that's not a complete thought, and I should write that more. But
languages. You came to. That was great. Okay.
Fucking languages. It's funny because, like, I wonder, like, what pier I'm out on.
Yeah, I don't know.
When I'm following whatever. It's fun though. I love it, dude. Thought experiments are my favorite.
I'm appreciating this. I think back to the new canoe, all the styles. It's funny because again, we created language, right? So we've created these. We have created these weird topples. Like, we can't think of a new way to put these letters, so we're just gonna take some or add some.
Yeah, like we're using it as our baseline. No, I mean, like, I'm not saying that dude, I don't know what the fuck the answer would be, or like what it would possibly mean to create a new language. But really, we language is being tricked upon here because the only reason that language exists and that it's all a fluent thing is because we agree that it all means this thing.
Right.
Like, it's like when I say turd butt. You know exactly what turd butt means, right?
A turd in a butt.
But like, what if I was like, no, that's not what I mean. Like, what if I meant like, you're not sitting in a chair, that's a table.
Yeah.
It's like if we had a disagreement on what actual things we say facts mean.
Yeah.
And that's what's fucking happening. People are saying, that's a fucking table. And you're like, that's clearly a chair, you idiot. Here's why. I'm going to stab your family.
Yeah.
Like,
but this is actually a table because.
Yeah. Like, it's so hard to coincide.
Actually, I think I would equate that kind of conversation, the left and the right, like the political side. Yeah. I would equate it to a bench and a table. So you can have a coffee table that could also double as a bench, right? But one side is like, no, absolutely not. This is a bench, and you sit on it, and you definitely don't put food on it. Like, that's not how it goes. But then somebody else puts it in front of their couch, and they're like, this is a table. Right. We're using this as a table. What do you mean? This is definitely a table. I bought this because somebody else labeled it table.
And then they devote the rest of their life to arguing about which is right. The table, which one's more tabley.
Yeah. Is this actually a table or a bench? I mean, is the dress blue or?
And then all of a sudden you have Facebook groups that are tables versus benches.
Right.
And then you have actual like riots that started as tables versus benches, but now they're considered conservatives.
The bench people cannot even like the table people, even though there's like 700 million other things they could like together. Like, hey, you know what? You think this is a bench? Oh, well, the other things the other 699,999 things we like about each other, oh, those go out the window.
Yeah, we really love finding, dude, we have a knack for finding one thing we disagree with.
It's this one thing that's got me tripping. You know what I'm talking about?
What? How does it go more?
It's this one thing.
What if YouTube like ripped my shit off? Like, they're like, that's clearly so clearly the exact song and key. This is a reincarnation.
Unfortunate.
You don't have the rights to sing this song.
Yeah,
you're so good.
C with a circle stamp. No,
it is true. We have a knack for finding one motherfucking thing that we like. Like, there could be. Like, really think about like when someone's like, hey, this is so and so, like, oh, this is a new, you're the new, okay, here's a good example. You're at your job and you're the senior person and you got a new person, and like, at least when we were young, showing the new person around, you're like, oh, that's Cindy, like, be careful, she has 5 kids and she's kind of a grumpy bitch. Like, you love Cindy, like, you fucking, that's your bitch, like, you love Cindy, like, but like, you accidentally pointed out that one little thing. Like, it's this, I think the thing is it comes from our primitive self. Like, hey, we need to like always keep your guard up a little bit because this person could stab you in the chest real quick. Like, and what we need to be doing is like, that's there, but we're not going to vocalize it.
That literally just happened to me. when I
got stabbed in the
started at
chest?
this new place. I got stabbed in the chest.
Yeah, damn.
No, I
Metaphorically stabbed in the chest.
day
dang.
one, metaphor stab in the chest.
Yeah.
No, I walked in and this girl was introducing me to, and then the person I was supposed to be training with actually was late, like a few minutes late. And so I was like, oh, I don't know who I'm supposed to be training with, whatever. I don't know anybody. And beforehand, when I was like following this girl around, getting some stuff, setting up for the day, she had mentioned like, oh yeah, you know, so-and-so, your bartender.
Watch out for her or something.
You have to get used to her. She's kind of a lot at first. And I'm like, you know, so then preemptively, when this person comes in, I'm like already bracing for like, oh, she
Yeah,
could be,
you have an
and
expectation.
to an extent, absolutely was distant at first and very like,
You didn't
because
purposely
I've been
do this.
her. No, I've been her. You don't want to fucking train somebody new.
Yeah, dude.
God, because
So you went into this place feeling a burden because that was reminded, though.
No, I mean, I think I knew my way around because thankfully I'm experienced. But that's what I'm saying. One in like 500 people that you train in your life is actually like competent. And you don't have to be like, go pick up the table.
Right.
Go wipe the table down. Like you don't have to give them every direction. So when you're a trainer, you're someone who has to consistently train. You're like, fuck.
But it's also a very, dude, it's a responsibility. It's something that you taking it lightly means that the rest of the time this person works at this place, they have handicaps because of you. You fuck. Like that's the thing. Like I get it. I totally do because I've trained tons of people.
Right.
Like,
I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I definitely know where she was thinking, where her personality was coming from, and why this other girl would have said it.
Of course.
However, I am thankfully intelligent enough, emotionally intelligent enough to be like, I will fill this out for myself because this girl who told me that seems a little bit. I have a very strong self-confidence, especially when I walk into a place where I'm like, I have done this before, so I'm not going to act like a little like, oh, tell me what to do. Generally, I'm going to walk in and say, all right, how can I help you? How can I be on your level? How can we?
Right.
So because my personality was a little different than hers, I'm like, I am not intimidated by her like the way you just made her sound, right?
Yeah, so it's because that girl was giving you her experience based off of where she's at, saying this is an absolute truth.
Yeah. And like, I get it. That
it's
girl.
Like, yeah, for a person like you, yes, that is maybe true. That's the one thing you should point out, but that's maybe true. But
and don't get me wrong, like I've been in that girl's position before where I was like
certainly
training and I'm like, hey, this person you got to be really touchy with. This person, make sure you do exactly this. And in a restaurant, it is helpful to know like this bartender does not want you to pull the tickets. This bartender wants you to wait your turn.
See, but those are a little bit different. Those are like
okay, to help the flow.
So, but those conversations. We have all these unspoken words or words that like we can't say, even though we're looking each other right in the eyes, like not saying them.
Yeah.
Like at work, like so. These are the kind of conversations that are being buried more and more and more with all this social media, like everything. Like all these fickle conversations are coming through to the surface, and they're being the only thing that we talk about.
Yeah.
So like.
Or the only way we live. We just assume that that's
right.
What I heard was right, and I won't even cross that line.
Because really, like, so say in 3 months, you and this girl constantly butt heads, and you're like, we were really not the same, and she thinks, like, whatever the situation is. Like, dude, to solve that problem, it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's not something we're taught how to do by our parents, of course not, because they don't do it either, which is fine, but we need to sit down with them and say, hey, we're working together every day. And I value my life and I value your life. I value your time and I value my time.
Yeah.
How do we work better together? We don't have to be friends. How do we work better together? And you literally, if you can look them in the eye and have that conversation, like they're not going to be like, well, fuck you, you're a dumb bitch. Like as long as you're sitting there like with honesty and you're not trying to attack them, like you're not making emotion-based decisions. You're literally acting out of sincerity and even if you want to be selfish, the root of this conversation is to make your life better. Yeah. Because you're grumpy when you go home and your boyfriend's getting kind of sick of you being a bitch because you just complain about Tiffany every damn day. Yeah. Like, so I think, I guess again, looping back to what we're saying, like, what can we tell young kids that are stuck in the second phase of what we went through? Yeah. It's their first and only phase right now. How can we help them see things as like, oh, I could be the one to initiate this conversation. How do we give them the strength to give themselves the strength?
This is something that I think is very like, for me still, I don't have a solution. Because I would love to go, one by one into a classroom and take all of their phones away and all of their social media away and just have like a full day of school where they literally just talk to each other and hang out. But it's like, it would take months and years of that to retract all of the like yeet.
With all the yeets and all the flosses.
All the yeets and the reverses and the flosses and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Humans we're very malleable, and it's actually unfortunate how malleable we are.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad, but like these kids literally don't know that they could be better than what they are right now.
They don't. Like, no, you know what?
Not better, but
no.
Actually better, yeah.
They could do more than they think, or that they don't even think.
Actually, it's better. I was a fucking turd. I sucked. Like, I'm not saying, like, I'm comparing myself to them, like, is drastic because I'm older, but like, I was sucked into the social media thing. Like, literally, I had to look at it every single time I got nervous. Anytime I felt an emotion that was not an emotion that I loved, I looked at my phone.
It.
Or I did something to it.
That's a byproduct of consistently throughout our lives being told to distract yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what all these kids are experiencing now.
Yeah.
They're handed an iPad.
Yeah.
Okay, and again, when I say all these kids, this sounds like a of course there's not. If you can, as a listener, if you can listen to this, and there's somewhere, if you let your guard down, sincerely, like, if there's somewhere where you can be like, fuck, man, I kind of do hand my kids, like, if there's somewhere you can apply any of this stuff sort of to your life, instead of saying, well, I'm not that, instead of finding the one thing you disagree with and being like, well, I don't feel that way, so I'm not listening to anything Jessica and Jake say. Like, I invite you, anything in this podcast, to find the chunks that equate to you, because I want to remind everybody that we're so different. We're so different. Like just because you agree with me doesn't mean you're anything like me.
Yeah,
like,
you know how many times I listen to, well, we talked about this, but in the past, you listen to a podcast and you're like, I don't agree with you on any of that. But it's also so good to hear people's, like, I genuinely, if I like disagree with you, I'm going to be like, okay, wait, explain to me how this works for you.
Yeah,
and
because there must be a reason why we're disagreeing. Like, let's figure out why we're disagreeing.
What? Tell me about your brain, because I'm so intrigued. Like, how do you learn it that way? Because I think of it this way. So,
in the thing is, you're not doing that to find an answer, like an answer as in this is truth or not true.
Right.
Because truth is the most subjective thing that ever exists. Like, everything that we know of reality. Truth is based off of somebody. If you just keep following the stream, like, who says what truth is? Like, because we don't even agree on a God. So what is really true?
Yeah.
Like, the parts of what we do, we think make us who we are. Like, everything that we do, we're like, no, that's us.
Yeah.
But if you take an engine, it's by itself. It doesn't have any cariness. There's no car to it. And then you add a muffler to it, and there's no cariness to the muffler and the engine together. Right. And then finally, at some point, we don't know, we haven't determined, you get the wheels on in the body, and then you're like, this is a car.
Yeah.
But when you take those things apart and you have the fender in your hand, you're like, where's the cariness? Where's the car?
Yeah.
Like,
this is the goer. There's no car.
Yeah. We think that we are absolutely just one thing, but we are every single day. You can wake up and you can literally just choose to be a different
1,000,000 pieces of something.
Like, and you're like, no, who I am is this because I have these things and I've experienced these things and here's my story and this is why. No, like, regardless, like, you could. This is the worst analogy, but this is just the extent of it. You can murder someone yesterday and save a life today. I'm just saying,
I don't think that's
I'm just saying, okay, but that is that not black and white? Like, don't print that on any shirts. But I'm just saying, like, if you're like, I'm not a good person or I'm a good man or like whatever, like,
who you,
every single day when you wake up, you can
decide
create how
your day goes.
You're not a car.
Yeah.
You're pieces of a car, and that car is built over time.
I think that's where a lot of people get caught up, though, is that they think like, well, because yesterday I was this person who went to work from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. and then I came home and then I did the dishes and I ate dinner and I sat down and watched the evening news and then I went to bed. I'm that person, so that's what I'm going to continue doing, because why would I do anything else? Like, I know who I am, but also
because you know what you like, of course. Like, I like this TV dinner, I like this TV channel. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Do you like it, or do the combination of your dopamine and your whatever, like, telling you that you like it?
Something I need to do in my life, but that really brought me back to like my second year in my bachelor's degree. There was a class that I had to take, and we had to watch this video and do it with them, and it was a mindfulness video, but it was literally like eating a Hershey's Kiss. And honestly, those aren't my favorite candies, but it's chocolate, and if it was sitting in front of me, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
So we had to go through the process with them, and it actually tastes like butter, because chocolate is must be or something derived of something like, something to stick it or what. I don't know.
To stick it.
Well, like it's milk chocolate. So I guess I should say that because dark chocolate is dark chocolate. Milk chocolate obviously has like cream base in it or butter in it or salt or sugar. Or, I don't even know what the hell's in it. I don't know. I'm not a great baker. Clearly, I just follow directions. Anyhow, and then you were able to taste like the grittiness of it. And I was like, well, that's weird. I've never thought of a Hershey's Kiss as
so they like point
gritty.
out these things like think about the grittiness like
They
as
make
you're
you close
eating
your
it.
eyes,
Right, okay.
smell it, then hear the wrapper. I mean, it's very
Like,
much like
so
a
you
meditation.
know it's a Hershey Kiss, but they're kind of making you
Right, so
point
they're
out
trying
what are
to
the things about it that you like.
pull away the things you think you love about it. So I love
The parts of the car.
yes, but this is like a taking apart. So this is for maybe beliefs. That's how I would probably put this is you have a belief system and this is exactly what you believe. And like the Hershey's Kiss, you end up thinking it actually doesn't smell as good as I thought it did. And then eventually you're like, oh, and it actually kind of was buttery and gritty and it wasn't as sweet as I remember it to be. Right. So you start taking these preconceived ideas from what everyone else has told you and you slowed down and you thought, what do I think about this item?
Yeah.
What do I think about this thing?
Outside of what the commercial tells you that's rich and creamy.
Right. And it has this cute little jingle and it's like in the, it's wearing Christmas trousers in one. Like
you equate it with Christmas, which is also a time when you're happy.
Right.
Like whatever.
And you eat it with, it's chocolate. You have to love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how do you know?
Everybody loves chocolate. That's a slogan that we say in society. Like you're going to do.
But I think we can equate that to the parts of the car, like you were saying. Like some of your parts of your car don't actually work anymore, and they're a little outdated.
Yeah.
So you bought an '87 Fastback.
Yeah.
Well, holy shit! Some of the stuff that was cool then, not actually is cool to you right now.
Yeah, and the only way that you're going to get the updated car is if you are willing to let go of your old car.
Right, and put some new pieces
But
in
also,
it.
I think you don't buy a car. I think that we forget that we create our own car, right?
Right.
Like, we think that we bought a car. We think that we're like, well, my fucking parents gave me this 86 Highboy Honda. I just made up a Tonda.
Hi, boy.
I just made up my own car. Because
Highboy
you can make
Tonda?
it. But that's the thing. I made up my own car because you can fucking make up your own car.
Because it's your own car in your own car land.
No, but that's the thing is like we think that we're handed this hand-me-down car of like who we are and what we need to be. But the truth is you can just like wake up. Even though you murdered someone in your car yesterday, you wake up. I'm keeping that. I'm bringing it around.
Save a life today.
You can drive. You can wake up and be like, I'm going to steal an ambulance today. I'm going to drive that to work, and I'm going to save a life.
And I'm going to save lives on my way.
I mean, really though, like you could choose who you want to be every day. You could just choose your carness.
You guys, just a disclaimer. I don't think you should murder someone one day, but you could save a life.
I think you should.
Maybe don't take Jake's advice literally.
Okay. Well, if you watch Grey's Anatomy, save lives.
Yeah, if you're a doctor.
But everybody's a doctor.
Today's a great day to save a life.
Yeah.
Okay,
wait. I have one more thing. Okay. So, getting back to like, let's say advice for the younger generation, like what kid, like, because there's a lot. Say there's a young kid listening to this who's like is on their social media, like they're not even on a point where they're like they have valiant excuses of why they're on their social media, or they're just like, dude, like I kind of want to get rid of it. Like I know it is taking my time. I want to work on my dreams, but like I can't like. I think, so I taught like a small, like for lack of a better term, meditation yoga class, last week when you guys came over. So for me, can you see how that helps me pull myself out and like find my real self? And that helps me get out of the walking around thinking about what other people are thinking of me. It gets me out of my self-conscious way of being that the internet culture has now. It's now our normal self-conscious way of being. Let's call it that. Like you're thinking about what other people are thinking of you. And this meditation yoga thing that I introduced you guys to, like, do you see the connections? Like I was trying to like point out, like, this is what it means to find yourself, your intuition. Like you listen to the real you.
Yeah.
And if we can suggest some sort of like meditation yoga sort of like what can we have kids like in their basement alone or in their room alone? Like,
you have to appeal to what they like first to gain their attention.
Yeah, don't go from where you like
per se. Yeah.
Right.
So that I think is important. And I think
I'm sorry.
like obviously studying a lot of business and consulting and stuff lately. I've been noticing people say like appeal to what they don't know they want. And that's so true. But you have to have something that wraps them in, that has even a little bit of you have to enter their world a little bit to get them to like be open. Let me gain your trust, right? You wouldn't have this podcast with some girl you just met walking through downtown Castle Rock. You probably wouldn't have invited her yet, but maybe, you never know.
Yeah,
but I'm saying chances are good that you invited me because we're comfortable and we're good friends and you trust me. You have some sort of trust.
Right. Which opens me up to be able to listen to your opinion.
Right. So same for these kids, probably even more so, because you know, if I wear an outfit that looks kind of like the girls are wearing right now,
right?
You know, and I kind of have some conversations about things that they might want to talk about, or I like even just like, oh yeah, I'm listening. Give them that attention that seems like, okay, you're speaking to what I like. Yeah. Then I can say my piece, and they're in. I've caught you then. Not in it like that sounds like, I'm
no, it's got to be authentic. That's the thing is, and the thing is, we also forget in that same sense, people find that and figure it out like, oh, I figured out the trick. I can get these fuckers. Like the thing is humans know truth. Like we know it. We can sense it. Like the same way that when you're on the freeway and you look over, the motherfucker looks right back at you. Yeah. It's because we can sense these things. Like, so if you're not being truthful and like being like, hey, like, I'm not going to pretend to be this person just because it's going to get to you guys. But like, here is a thing that is a real part of me that I'm going to word it and form it and paint it in this way to where you guys understand. So for example,
value or interested in learning it or
right, exactly. So I'm not going to push it in the face of people who are not interested. Yeah. That's a huge thing with me is like with this podcast, I don't give a fuck about social media. Like I eventually may start doing like a once a week post or like, I don't know, something, but like, I don't want it to be forcing people who don't care about this stuff to listen to it. Like if you want to, you find it if you need it. Like okay, yeah, getting them interested. So, okay, so what I've done, so like as a DJ, what I do, what they want is they come up to me. So like I DJ a lot of CTSOs. And so that's like student conferences, like it'll be like thousands of kids in like a conference hall and they're in shirt and ties, but like they're also high school kids. So they want to party. So they come up and they're, Brad, play Gucci Gang, like, yo, like play that new 2 Chainz song. Like they're just saying absurd things to me that of course I'm never going to in my professional life play fucking Gucci Gang over the intercom at a high school organization place. Like, so they think they know what they want. Right. They absolutely think they know what they want because if I play Gucci Gang, everyone's Chad, who reaffirms himself as Chad Master General,
the coolest kid,
is when I play it, he can now do this dance. Yeah, like in like now Jennifer knows that's Chad. So like, but so you will accidentally reaffirm who you think you are if you keep following all the things. So you need to stop in your tracks. And so with the meditation course, the yoga thing that I taught you guys. I mean, I don't want to take the spark out of it for the more that I'll do in the future, but I'll get better at it as I go. But I essentially have them like turn off themselves in a sense. Like it's not a trick. It's me being my genuine self. They all know me. They trust me. And I have them come to my house and I have them kind of just shut up and listen to me for a bit. And
you turn off the audience.
Yeah. I don't allow the audience to have a say, but it's not like, you guys, this is what you do. You need to follow the rules. I have something to say. Like I create trust. They come here and they trust me enough to even come here. So that's something that I'm doing right in life. Right. Yeah. Like, you know, I've been a good friend enough. Yeah. Like my, you know, like I invite them and I tried intentionally when you guys got here. I try to break down who you think you are, like make you think of things that you wouldn't think of. So you got here and typically you're probably thinking, I'm going to walk in, we're going to do this. And you have expectations of like, do I need to bring a yoga mat, whatever? Like one of our friends brought a yoga mat. Like you got here and I handed you a basketball and we started playing pig. And I said, the first thing that everybody got here, I said some form of like, hey, just be mindful of what you're thinking of today. Yeah. And I said some form of that to everybody. And like, so I didn't take away these people's time. I didn't go to their house and rip them out and say, hey, you be mindful right now. I offered based off of my information, based off of my like trust. Like I said, hey, here's something I really think you guys will enjoy. And like, they can see the progress in me. Like they know that it's true, that I'm being truthful. Yeah. Like, so I think that the essence of all these things really has to be something that you have spent your fucking time in. Like, who are you to interrupt anybody's life to tell them to turn off who they are just because you're like, try what I think.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to like shut each other up and like, no, what I think is good. But like, if we can find ways just of honestly, not only trusting each other, but also finding ways to follow like and stack all of this knowledge and be like, okay, how does this work for other people? Like, so you guys got here and we got active when we got moving. I would actively try to engage in this style of conversation.
Yeah.
Like you probably wouldn't notice because it's super natural, but like we didn't really talk about other people most of the time. Like started hinting at meditation.
Because that's not how life really, that's not what language is meant for. Language is not meant to talk about. I mean, yeah, sure. Call 911 if there's an emergency. Let's talk about somebody else.
Right.
But really,
exactly.
Your life has a lot more to it and your brain does a lot more than just gossip.
Yeah. See, and it's funny. So the people who are gossiping, though, they're not really going to think that they're gossiping. Like they're not going to admit, like, well, I'm just saying that. Everybody thinks that Amanda's a bitch. Like I'm not gossiping. Like what? Like
I'm definitely gossip.
So here's the thing: is we're all like I just did throw up my hands. Like I'm not gossiping. Like we all do that. And the thing is, it's like we're gossipy as fuck, man. We're gossipy creatures. Like we want to know what's going on.
Also, again, connotation of gossip.
Right. Okay. So what's gossip?
So. For me, gossip.
I feel like this podcast we're going to define a lot of things. I'm hyped.
We are. Gossip is, for me, is like I was talking negatively about a situation to somebody else who really didn't need to be in the know. Sometimes it's negative, and sometimes it's like an exciting gossip. Like, oh my God, so and so's pregnant, but they're not going to tell me yet. But how exciting! I'm so glad I know. However, how did I find out? Okay, I probably found out from somebody who said.
Right.
Does that make it? Gossip's about. That's what I'm saying. So there is a negative connotation with it.
Does that have to be negative though? Because
but the word
just saying like, hey, did you hear that this person is pregnant? Like that's talking about someone else certainly, and it makes us feel weird, right? We're like, oh, you're talking about like Ashley. Ashley can hear you.
Yeah.
Where are all these names? I have a lot of names today. I don't know any of these people.
All these friendly girl names.
I know. My sister's name is Ashley, and she's
not
super friendly, but she's pretty cool. Yeah, we have these like negative. I gave up on that one.
Negative connotation with gossip.
Negative connotation with gossip. So that doesn't mean that like just because you're saying someone's pregnant, just because you're talking about other people.
Yeah.
But I think that talking about other people, as in what's the newest news on someone else,
right,
is gossip. Doesn't have to be negative. Doesn't have to be like, did you hear that? Cynthia's dad like hooked up with Amanda's mom. Like what? Like it doesn't have to be negative. It was elaborate too. It doesn't have to be negative, but it's like wasting your valuable 100 slots a day in your 24 hours.
It dilutes the actual thoughts or the actual things your brain can think about, or you can have a discussion about, or the ways you can make your life.
You don't get to form new neurological pathways when fucking Jennifer's mom's gossip is in your brain. So what do you do every day to get away from that stuff? So because the bottom line is these are things that you may not know that you're doing or are taking up your time until you're able to step back. So
what if gossip though is you know how we talked about like information overload?
Right.
That's such a common thing. So what if we learn all this stuff? Typically, like I don't learn my gossip from social media. I learn my gossip by like seeing it on social media and asking a friend who might know. Right.
So you don't take it as absolute, like
right. So if I see it on social media, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can believe that or whatever. I don't know. But I'm going to go to my second source here and I'm going to find out. And then what they told me is like, I found that out, but it doesn't actually affect me. So I'm just going to came in and reverberated a little bit, but like it doesn't actually, I don't need it, but I'm going to just let it out later.
Yeah. We feel like we need to do something with it.
Yes.
We recognize that it's not fucking ours and we need to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Where we need to put it is just let it go.
Or say it like, I don't know, while you're taking a poop and nobody's listening to you. Or say it to my fucking dogs. You know what stuff I say to my dogs?
Yeah, literally, as you're taking a poop, just like, damn, y'all hear Jennifer's pregnant?
Yeah.
And then you stop and you listen to that and you're like, damn, what a waste of, like, why would anybody, like, we don't need to know that. We're going to know when she has a baby when we see her next. That'll be fine.
Yeah, like
we'll see the baby in a year, and we don't have to think about her ever again until a year when we see her.
She's not going to be unpregnant, so now she's pregnant, and then what are you going to do? You're going to go like bashing her name? Nope, she's about to be a mom, and you know what?
Well,
fucking the rest of her life, she's a mom.
Do you think that information has been held up so highly valuable to us that we think all information is important?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything we learn is accidentally important now.
Yeah. Which it is, sure, whatever. But it's what you hold to be the most important.
Yeah, what does it do for your life?
Yeah.
What is it? So if these kids are out gossiping, like what can they do better in their life. So like next time, maybe just hearing this conversation, maybe they can stop and be like, oh shit, I am talking about Cynthia again.
Yeah.
Like, or, oh, Joey just walked up to me. I'm going to tell him all about Stephanie's mom. Like, maybe you're going to have this little let's call it an intuition as a spark of joy, little seed that'll say like, don't say that. Who gives a fuck about Jennifer's or whoever I said.
Stop. Shut.
But so the thing is, I'm not kidding. If you start listening to that little voice and you just don't say it, like, it's okay to be in silence, or you can wait for them to talk. Or if they talk and they're like, hey, did you hear about Jennifer? You could be like, oh, cool. And then you could change the subject. Like you can literally
to interrupt your thoughts. Yeah.
So interject. There's like a little voice before your thoughts of just saying shit out loud, and you could interject. And so that voice is very, very weak in people who are never alone. If you are never ever alone, even if you're codependent, like even if you had a terrible,
exist even.
I think that by human nature. So I've actually thought about this very intricately. So are you saying does intuition exist within everyone?
I would say, yeah, that little voice.
Sorry, I meant to say, are you saying intuition?
Yeah.
exists? I didn't mean, when people say that, like, so you're saying.
So this
like,
is
like
what
some
you're
sort
saying.
of debate.
No, that's a good
I've had
tactic.
I've had this. I think very in depthly about intuition. So if we're all of the Earth, like we're not, like we didn't come from, like we weren't born on Mars and we took some spaceships and we got on Earth and we're like, all right, how do we fucking figure this out? Like we're literally, like, as far as we know, our best bet is that we grew. I mean, this is like this is what we know. Evolution, we grew billions and billions of years. Like evolution created humans.
Yeah.
Like after in turn, we are of the Earth. So if you took away time, we are equally the same fucking thing that a rock is. Like we're from this thing that's the Earth, whatever.
Derived from.
Yeah. So an intuition, what an intuition means to me is all of these things have their job. So like my liver knows how to be livery. Like it does the livery things. Like I'm not consciously processing this beer. I'm not consciously processing this. Like I'm not saying like this is bad, let's put it here. This is pee, this is poop. Like not that like poop goes in your liver, but like your poop just passes right through your liver.
Poop. Don't you dare.
No, but like so the process of our body, of a human's body and of the world knows what to do without. It's an intuition. Yeah. So society and what happens from society. So from society, we've now created this terrible thing of like kids stuck in the second stage of what we went through. Yeah. Like, which was amazing, but it also has terrible annotations. Like,
but they don't know the before is the problem.
Yeah. So they may not know their intuition. So I think that
only started in the second stage and are living.
So I think that it may be our duty, and I'm not even just saying this podcast. Like I think this may be duty. It may be our poopy to really like say like, holy shit, like we accidentally robbed these kids of feeling the feeling of a gut intuition. I
was going to say this earlier.
Yeah.
Numb the kid. Ourselves too.
Yeah.
And I've had to break this
because we don't want to feel shit.
Well, no, we just have never. When you have social media or you have technology or you have whatever, it, like we were saying, when you go on a trip and I go on a vacation, if I'm like, okay, I've looked at this thing on Pinterest a million times, it's got to be beautiful, and you get there and your
Instagram effects aren't applied to it.
Yeah, and you're mildly like,
it's too real lifey.
Pretty. That's pretty, and that's all you've got because you don't get this awe moment. And it's the same with life in general. Like this is what if I would leave, the world ever giving advice to a 11, 12-year-old kid, it's take some time to walk outside and breathe in the fresh air, see the grass, hear it, feel the wind, like literally use all of your senses. Maybe even take your sight away for a while. You know what I mean? Give yourself the idea of like your other senses functioning.
Yeah, like meditate of sorts. And so
I mean, eyes open are also great because you can see like real colors.
Yeah, well, I mean, see what feels right to you. There's not really like, it's not like you go outside and you're like looking at this list that you just wrote down, right? Like you're like, okay, they said go outside. Okay, feel your senses. Yeah. Okay, what is okay? Like so the grass, what this means. What this means to me, and like this is leading back to what I was talking with, like that little meditation yoga class I taught, is I really was just trying to shut who you think you need to be or who you think others think you are off and really like for lack of a better word, force presence on you. Like, or actually no, awaken the presence that's already in you. Like, and so I sat there and we went through some meditations. But essentially all you need to do this yourself, let's say, is just sit down and commit to whatever you're going to do. Like whether it's, I'm going to listen to this person, or I'm going to try this 10-minute meditation or whatever. And you turn your phone in airplane mode, you turn it off, or you leave it inside, you put music on, whatever you got to do. Go outside and just be with whatever you're thinking about, right? Like just
get outside. That's
like, and so here's the thing is, if you've never been taught this before, so Jessica, I'm afraid that when you say go outside and be with the grass and smell the air, like I don't think
directive.
that these kids know what that means. So what we mean by that there is as a human nature, and I'm not even trying to be woo woo about this. There's an incredible,
I love that you can use that
feel
term.
right. It is though, just because I'm saying these things based off of who I used to be, versus who I am now. Like, there is, I promise you, just completely sober, you can go outside and just really, after some experience, smell the air and look at the beautiful trees and feel like you're actually a part of something. Like you don't feel like you're talking about a homeless person who feels like they don't have that underlying layer. Like you can feel that being just a part of being alive, like being a part of the earth.
Feel your heart beating.
Is that you're welcoming. You can, and so go outside. And so this is something that like, you can't do this wrong. You can't do this. There's not really even a doing it right. Like this is just being who you are without any input. So don't try to like, oh, what would I do? Or like, oh,
or how would I sit?
How would I sit? Or what does it mean to smell? Like just go outside and just start smelling. And then
there shouldn't be any confinements or some, because I think that's the thing too, is we take a lot of rules a little too literally.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally, look at what religions did. We literally read we think that it's a metaphysical book. And we're like, well, he said drink the body of Christ, so we make wine. Like, dude, it's weird. Like, these are all, we don't need to dive down that road. But no, like don't things, these aren't literal things. There's something that you have potential of feeling. Like if these things seem like you have something where you're like, I don't know, like my life could maybe be better. Like maybe this is on something. Maybe I should go walk outside for a couple minutes. Yeah. There's something that for me personally, I felt as a 27-year-old man that I don't think, or maybe I had forgotten about it, that I had felt it as a kid, that I had ever felt before. Like this is a profound, like a presence, true presence had been taken from me. I'm not trying to blame the internet.
Your knowledge is vastly different than when you were young. So like, it probably is. You probably did have similar moments, and then as you grew, now you're like,
I understand it now, yeah. But I mean, I'm saying like I was in let's say a blind, like I was very depressed for 5 years, let's say. Yeah. Like I was in a blindness of course I knew I was depressed and I was a sad fuck, but like this sentence wouldn't make sense. Like if someone's like, go outside and just breathe the air, it'll make you feel better. I'd be like, you are stupid. That's not how things work. You don't understand my blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'm this, and you don't know what depression is. And like, I'm telling you, you don't need to know the answer to this, and you're not looking for an answer. Here's the thing. You're not looking for an answer. Yeah. Go outside and breathe the fresh air, breathe the fresh air. Look around at the trees and don't have your phone out. If you're going to have music in your phone, like go to Spotify and shuffle meditation yoga or whatever. Words. No, please no words. And this is something from a DJ and a music person. Like I love music and I'm always shoving music down my ears and podcasts down my ears. Go out and be with only your thoughts. I would say I need a little bit of background music if I can help it. I enjoy background music, but just like peaceful piano or meditation yoga and just walk around. Yeah. And watch what you think about. Don't watch what you think about as an observer. Try not to do anything, but just
don't change where you're at or what you're doing.
Yeah, I think follow what happens.
Like this is something that I had a really hard time with, but then it took, I guess, a good yoga teacher, and then also like Adrienne, Yoga with Adrienne on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
she's helpful. Great. I really love when someone who's teaching you, because usually if you're teaching, the goal is get this right, do this right, learn this.
That's what we've learned.
I don't remember where, I want to say like Holos maybe on Commerce in Longview. I think that's where I really
So that's a yoga studio
it's a yoga studio, yeah.
What's it called? Holos?
Holos, Holos.
I'll have to check that out.
And I did hot yoga with one of my girlfriends who's also super, super like encouraging and understanding and not judgmental and really not, I mean, she's really a huge person that I needed at the time. And we went to yoga together and I was like, oh, I'm doing this wrong, whatever. And the lady said like, not even maybe like 40 seconds after I had that thought and was like about to like quit the move we were doing, she was like, you cannot do this wrong. And I was just like, thank God, because I feel like I don't look anything
it's so funny.
like you.
I feel like they could say that multiple times and like suddenly it clicked, because with Adrian, like it was something, and I kept repeating it with you guys too, and the little thing I did, like it's something that we literally think we're so social media trains you, and like even our political system, like our whole society, like it's terrible to use the word society so often, but we've kind of actually been trained that everything needs an end. Like everything, like you're doing this so you can get to
or
this.
There's one right or one wrong way.
Yeah,
there's
like, here's the thing is like, dude, you're not wrong. Like these things that you have, like everybody thinks that I'm crazy, but like I think that this is right. You're not wrong at all. What you think is right is right. That's okay. Like you can feel that way, but you got to coincide. Fighting what you think is right outwardly is not how you do it. You got to coincide with what's right inside, and then you live your life according to how does this, what I think, work outside of here
with the rest of the world. Or the whatever environment. I guess
one and what is so. I know I keep poking at it, but like, I really want to get it through to anybody listening, young kids especially, of like, they're not going to see like what is the point of going outside and just walking for 20 minutes.
You do it.
Okay, so you think it's something that like, okay, so there's something that we can confidently say, like, if you go outside and you just please don't talk to any, like, don't walk with a friend, don't bring music. Just go outside and just listen and walk or sit or something for 20 minutes. Like you think like that's enough to make them experience like, oh, that's what they're talking about? Or do you think we need to, like, do they need to be thinking about certain things, or do they need to just watch what they're thinking about? Like,
for the youth, I would say just getting them to make the decision themselves to go outside.
Right.
Because they are very much in the like, I'm not going to do that if I don't have to.
Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to be the first person on the dance floor. They've always got to wait for one person to go out there first.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think it would come with like that mindset of like, how is this going to immediately make me feel better? And if you can't give me a legitimate reason, or you can't make me like understand the feeling right here, right now, I'm not going. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go to work to make money. I don't want to work overtime if I don't have to, or it's not going to directly benefit me.
Yeah.
So I think it has to be something, because to be really fair, I'm that way. I'm very much like, I don't want to make a cheese quesadilla on the stove. This is a good example, because Tyler always makes fun of me. I don't want to make a cheese quesadilla on the stove, and I don't want to add any meat and make it like so good that I could make it home, because I want it right now. I'm hungry, and I don't care if it tastes that great. I just want it.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't directly benefit me, and it takes me 15 minutes, that's why cooking is so hard, because I'm just like, holy shit, it's going to take me 45 minutes to make this meal.
Right.
And I'm going to eat it in 1 minute. I don't mindfully eat it at that point. At that point, I'm just done with it. And
do you think the instant gratification robbed you of the, I mean, the essence of having a grilled cheese is kind of the fact that you have enough free time, that you chose your job well enough to where you have enough free time in your nice apartment with your husband, with your whatever, like, to enjoy a grilled cheese sandwich. You're going to put some peppers on it, and you're going to do all this. Yeah. Like, it's the essence of because time is not who can have the most time ever and you win. Yeah. There's no winning in life. We all die. This is all taken from us, dude. Like, so time is if you can get to a point where you can enjoy from point A to point Z, not just A to like, I'm A and then I need to get to Z right fucking now. Like, if you can enjoy the letters in between by like, I like cooking this and enjoy, oh, my house is nice. So if you can go outside and be like, oh, I'm able to like walk around outside, like that's pretty cool. Like, this is nice.
Wow,
you start to
really
notice things that you appreciate, and then it replaces all these thoughts that you have every day of like Jesse's fucking mom and Jesse's mom makes a song, like just all these thoughts that you've been filled with by your phone, by school, by all these
just life,
and it starts to
Speaking on the we don't have social media thing, I mean, I do have, the Snap, with the exception of Snapchat, and then I have a Facebook that's just for my work. I have to keep up on it, but I don't actually have but anyway, I feel like without social media, I have information overload.
Right.
So it's bizarre to me that I spent my time with that.
With other people's information.
It's crazy, because now that I'm done with school, and it's been a long time since I've been like done with school, not worked a job that stresses me out or makes me feel like I have to devote my entire brain to it. I'm having time again to go and do the things that I want to do and make myself. And I'm finally in this place where I'm like, I feel like I have free time.
Yeah.
It has been so long.
You're not always doing.
Right. And even on my days off from work, I'm doing this, I'm making sure this is done, having this done, this is here, making sure I see this 14 people in 24 hours because I haven't seen them in a couple weeks.
You have your obligations almost.
Yeah, I peeled that away.
Dude.
And I was thinking, I think like tomorrow, I don't work till 3 and, Tyler's not going to be home until 11 or 12. So I have just like time. I have time again. In that.
All right. So what do you, it's like, what's your, like, so you're going to use, just because I know who you are, you're going to use that like as you time, like it's Jessica time. So like, what are your plans and like, just in terms of like, how can other people create their own, instead of watching Netflix when you get a couple minutes, instead of going on social media, instead of smoking a cigarette, instead of like whatever these things that don't really seem to be doing anything but killing time.
Mindless. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, or really if it's on your phone, let's just eliminate that.
Yeah.
So like, how do you, like, are you just like, what's your day gonna look like tomorrow?
Well,
your free time.
I mean, do you want tomorrow or do you want just in general?
Let's in general. Yeah.
So I like to start my morning with like making my coffee. I've been making cappuccinos for myself because it's something that's like just one of my favorite things. And I've finally started making them for myself in the morning at my house. And then I'm sitting down on the couch, typically with the dogs. Cause yes, they slept in our bedroom or in our bed, but I didn't like pay attention to them all night. So I wake up and we have like
coexisting.
Yeah, we have like time where I get to like hang out with my dogs and drink my coffee. On the occasion, I read a book on my phone or whatever. But I also I know I want to learn to play the guitar. The other thing is I'm not putting pressure on learning the guitar.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking I have
But
to
what's the
learn this
point in
in a month.
learning if you're drilling it? Like, it's not about being able to play guitar. It's like learning to play guitar. The word learning is like the coolest part because you like get better over time.
Picking up the guitar right now for me is enough. Sitting with the guitar for 10 minutes, like plucking at the strings and pretending and hearing the sounds. Even if I don't know shit about the guitar in 6 months, I am still getting myself like I'm every
It's a
day
slow
picking up
process,
this,
but it's going.
Yeah.
It's killing that instant gratification bug too. Like the
Yes.
instant gratification where we're like, I want it now.
and my perfectionism.
Yeah. Because there's no right and wrong with what you're doing. You're just experiencing life. Like I know I'm going to pick up this guitar and I'm not good at it. Oh, dang, that sucks. So you just put it down. You never try it again.
Right.
No,
And that's a battle I'm having with myself. So that's something
Yeah.
that I get to work on now because my whole life, and
There's
I say
no time
this,
crunch.
I say this like half-heartedly, half joking earlier when we were talking about me having 27 jobs. I quit things when I'm done with them, and I do it. I react on emotions a lot of the time. I would say in my past. The other thing is I act based on like I am not happy doing this job. I refuse to continue doing it. And usually by the point that I've quit, I've tried multiple ways, or I've like went to work and been like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this today. How can I make this better? So I've went through the motions of like making things better.
Yeah.
But
you got to talk to yourself about it, right?
Right.
Sometimes you don't know what you think until you talk to yourself.
Right. But I'm avidly working to be better about not quitting things immediately because they're hard. Soccer is a great example. I am a phenomenal coach. I would be a phenomenal coach. I know the field, I know the plays, I know the dynamics, I know the logistics. I can tell you when there's a great player. I can tell you what positions you should be in. When I'm on the field myself, I am only good to be the bully. And I say that because I chose to disregard the hard parts of my summer of getting in shape and actually like working on skill development. I know I'm a great shooter and I know I have strong legs and I can run the whole game.
Right.
I never would go home and work on footwork by myself because I was afraid I was going to break my ankle.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't good at it and it was hard and I didn't even know where to start. And I never looked on YouTube when I was 16. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't look for skills. I didn't try to learn how to make myself better. So I learned how to make the team better.
Right.
By being so that's good. Yeah. The funny one or the inspirational one or the whatever. And that's totally cool. I'm glad with that. But over this last, I want to say year has probably been a pretty good learning curve for me. Because I was able to quit a job that I absolutely was just like stuck in. I was able to do a lot of things.
This whole last year for our whole friend group is like revolutionary.
Yeah, it has been pretty like, wow, life-changing. And I think now I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm mentally fighting that fight. And a lot of it, not a lot of it, I can't credit it all, but Tyler does a really good job of being like, that's your mentality saying that. Mm-hmm. That is not, you are not incapable. Like Tyler is saying, you're so capable. And
you're saying it as an absolute. It's not.
Yeah. And he's saying, break down that wall. Like I can't run 3 miles. Are you kidding me? Okay. My body is built to run.
Okay. But so I think that's obviously that's very important. I totally agree. But I think that what is being taken away is like someone is literally going to say, even as a joke, like even if like this could be on someone's fucking joking Instagram meme page of like recording this and being like, me after I hear that, like, bro, why the fuck I want to do that when I can eat chips and eat only like, so like I'm inserting like comedy as a good way to like ride it on that boat of like self-shame and let that happen. But like how do I'm afraid that people are going to stop with, why would I do that when I could just eat chips? Like, why would I push myself? What is the value in that? Why would I do it hard when there's genuinely, I think that people have never ever experienced like their inner selves like triumphantly winning something,
right?
Or like, I'm not even talking about like a trophy or whatever. Like I'm talking about like, oh shit, this is something that I single-handedly worked very hard on, and I feel this made me a better man. Like, there's a lot of people. And I think a lot of people, because of the internet, who have never felt this before. Like there's 30 years old, there's 40 years old, there's 13-year-olds who have never felt this. Like this is an experience of like wonder of like
becoming a better self.
I don't think I could run 4 miles, and then you run 4 miles and you're like, oh shit. And then other people around you are like, damn, he ran 4 miles. I'm the same age as him. He's like only an inch taller than me. I wonder if I can run 4 miles. Right. And then like, but I'm saying like none of these people are like, I think
never challenged themselves and then tried it.
Yeah. And so they've never felt it.
If it was just going to be hard.
Yeah. So they only see the obstacles. Like, why would I do that? Because I'm saying the why of why we do anything there isn't an answer to that.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think that why we do everything is the essence of doing everything. The journey of life is literally just a journey. I don't even know like what's going on at the end of life, but like, I think it's just a journey. Like, the essence of why you do anything is to get better.
Yeah, you can't just focus on the hollow end of the stick here. You know? Like you have to be like, okay, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, but what's in the tunnel?
Yeah, right. Yeah, how can you eat in the tunnel? How can you floss in the tunnel? Yeah, that's the thing. Or even outside of that, like just to end on a mystical being part, like what is the tunnel? Not what is in the tunnel. Not how about what is the tunnel? Why are we talking about tunnel? Who put the tunnel there? Tunnel. Come back next week, Junkyard Love Podcast. Just kidding. Peace. No, let's wrap it up though. Jessica Faul, what is it? Foul or fall? Let's settle that. Anybody on the internet, we could do that shit too. Like the internet has created these 2 different last name worlds, even first names. Like your name starts with an N, but it ends with like 7 G's. Nobody knows. They make up words in their head. So is it fall or foul, Jessica Faul?
Well, okay. I'm gonna solve this age-old familial battle. Mm-hmm. Okay. We say foul because it's German. The AU in Germany or in the German language is ow, right? So foul. AU is foul. Yeah. However, I have as my dad has always explained it, rich side of my family who calls themselves the Fauls. So
were they like separating themselves?
Yeah. Yes. So the Fowls were the ones who didn't have money, and the Fauls were the rich family.
See, I wonder if like how much of that like
how does that
like is that real? Like do they really think that? Do they think they're any better than you?
Well, that's the thing is when people meet me and they know any of the Fauls, they say, "Are you related to so and so Faul?" And I'll say, "Yeah," because
of course
that's not a name
they're related to. Like
if you have that last name, it's not common. It's not a common last name. I don't know anybody else in the freaking world of where we live, in the environment that I'm not related to that has that name. It's not like a Jones or. It's nothing like that. It's not just this common last name. So I'm always like, yes. And I never correct people because personally, I don't give a shit.
Dude, yeah, why? Like people are like, it's Rihanna. It's like, it doesn't matter at all. Like
it's a name that somebody chose
those are things
to give to you
we just took our 100 memory slots and we filled fucking one of them with you correcting me on Rihanna.
Yeah.
Like But I used to do the same thing, so I know. I literally used to go out of my way to correct people when they said the wrong form of your or you are. Which, granted, language is important, and we shouldn't really just throw it around like get it together. But I used to correct it.
Together.
So Jessica Faul or Fall, whichever you'd like.
Yeah, whichever.
Or foo butt. What is searching your junkyard of your 27 years of life? Like not just what you've learned recently, like what you've learned in life. Like what is something like if you had to leave behind, like when you leave this world, like what's something that you want people to know about?
If I ever leave this world behind.
That's what you're gonna leave with it. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just loop that for 4 hours, and that will be the outro of this.
And that will be the meditation.
Yeah,
music.
And your meditation. That's your chant. That's your
that's your channel.
Yeah, your mantra is just.
Yeah.
If I ever leave it. What would you like to leave behind? Like, what's something you want to?
Gosh, I don't know.
What's important for other people to know from you that you've learned?
Get to know people.
Yeah.
Get to and do it in their way on the way that the way that they like. Do it how
live in their world.
Yeah. Really. Oh, yeah, like listen, I guess is the thing, because if you get to know someone, you're not doing the talking. You're hearing them. If I ever leave this world behind. If I ever leave this world behind. If I ever leave this world behind.
That's where you're gonna leave it. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.